Chapter 2667. GA. The arrival of Wang Xian and the rest had rescued Yu Shangfeng. When the three abyss species saw this, they were infuriated. Their hideous faces let out deafening roars at Wang Xian and the rest. One for each. Ao Feng Huang locked onto them with a cold gaze. Roar. In the next instant, he transformed into a heavenly lightning, earthly fire dragon phoenix with a dragon's body and phoenix's wings. Flames and lightning circled around his body as he attacked one of the abyss species. I can't handle one for each of us. Ao Xingmu, let's go against the two of them. Mao Zisen smiled faintly. As an arrow dragon, his long-range attacks were terrifying. However, he was a notch weaker in close combat. He would find it hard to defend against 2 to 3 8th-level Undying God Kings in close combat. However, his long-range attacks were terrifying. All right, Ao Xingmu replied faintly. He charged over and attacked the 2 rank 9 abyss species with sparks of thorns. Boom, boom, boom. The sounds of the rank 9 abyss species clashing rang out again. Great, Dragon King. Help me hold off the abyss species in front of me. I have a treasure that requires 20 seconds to prepare. After 20 seconds, I can severely injure or even kill a beast. An old man from the lunar sect said to Wang Xian with excitement in his eyes as he stared at the abyss species in front of him. There's no hurry. Hold them off for a few minutes. Wang Xian looked over and said plainly. Dragon Peak would take about 4 minutes to reach here. As long as he could hold off these abyss species for 4 minutes, it would be time for them to perish. Huh. The old man from the lunar sect was taken aback for a moment before he nodded. All right, we'll listen to you, Dragon King. They were grateful for the arrival of the Dragon Palace. It was no exaggeration to say that the Dragon Palace had saved the lunar sect. Wang Xian hovered in the starry sky with the 5 elements great grindstone hovering in front of him. He stared at the 30-odd rank 8 abyss species below and smirked. Wang. The 5 elements great grindstone spun at full speed as the 5 elements law of annihilation seemed to be able to silence everything. The 5 elements grindstone enveloped the 2 rank 8 abyss species and directly attacked. The elder of the Great Moon sect, who was fighting the 2 class 8 abyssal species, hurriedly dodged to the side. The 2 type 8 abyssal species also wanted to dodge, but the grindstone chased after them. The dusky river of time directly brushed past the 2 Undying God King level 8 abyss-type bodies. The 2 rank 8 abyss species died instantly. Thank you, Dragon King. The 2 Moon Great Sect elders said gratefully. Buzz. The 5 elements grindstone moved and continued to attack the other class 8 abyssal species. Haha, with the help of the Dragon King and the others, we will definitely win this time. Too strong. The Dragon Palace also has 4 9th Order Immortal God King Realm experts? That's amazing. There should be more than 4. The huge Dragon Peak is also very terrifying. We saw 3 thorny monsters flying out from the Dragon Peak. They are also very powerful. Below, all the experts and disciples were extremely excited when they saw this. This was especially so for the disciples of the Moonlight sect. Their patriarch had been saved, and now the Dragon King had killed a rank 8 abyss species. The crisis here could be resolved very quickly. The battle continued, but to the experts and disciples, the pressure was greatly reduced. Ao Xingmu and the other 2 were fighting against the 3 rank 9 abyssal species, while the other 3 were fighting against the other 3. As for old ancestor Yu, he was recovering at the side. He was heavily injured, and if he did not have any powerful treasures, he would need at least a few thousand years to recover. Wang Xian slaughtered the rank 8 abyssal species, while the liberated 8th Order Immortal King Realm experts went to kill the 7th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. The pressure on the humans was greatly reduced. They're here. For minutes later, the rumbling of the Dragon Peak could be heard. Wang Xian looked over, and his eyes were filled with excitement. This time, he was not prepared to let the 6th 9th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species escape. First, trap the 3 9th Order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Wang Xian immediately said to the heavenly array, Yes, Dragon King. The Dragon Peak flew over, and the arrays on it activated. 3 thorny monsters formed by the arrays flew towards Ao Xingmu and the rest. The three ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species saw another powerful existence charging towards them and let out a low growl. Ao Xingmu, Ao Fenghuang, Mao Zesin, let's work together to kill the other three. The monsters formed by the arrays surrounded the three ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species as Wang Xian ordered. Yes. After that, the Dragon King and the other three flew towards the Moon Sect leader's battlefield. That Dragon Peak can actually trap three ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species. Is this the true strength of the Dragon Palace? Ha ha ha. Kill these beasts, kill them all. The Moon Sect master and the two patriarchs were shocked. Then they roared with laughter. Old Feng, we're here to take revenge for you. Brothers from Dragon Palace, help me restrain one. I'm going to use my ultimate move. One of the old ancestors said with a laugh. All right. Ao Xingmu flew over, and a number of law thorns shot towards the ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species. The old ancestor retreated from the battlefield and took out a lightning ball. The lightning ball contained an unparalleled destructive power. Wang Xian swept his gaze over and raised his brows. Brothers from Dragon Palace, dodge. 20 seconds later, he roared and threw out the lightning ball in his palm. Ao Xingmu moved and swiftly dodged. Crackle! Boom, boom, boom. With a deafening roar, when the lightning ball came within 1,000 kilometers of the ninth-order Immortal King, it exploded. A vast power of thunder and lightning filled the surroundings. The destructive lightning tore the space apart. Roar! Roar! The ninth-order Immortal King within felt the threat of death and let out a furious roar. What a powerful force! Even if it can't kill that ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species, it can still injure it. Wang Xian swept his gaze over and raised his brows. Soon, the lightning dissipated, and a horrifying abyssal species appeared. It saw the gazes of Wang Xian and the rest and turned to flee in terror. But at this moment, a black and white shadow appeared and easily killed it. Huh! There's another rank 9 existence in the Dragon Palace? Seeing Ao Yao suddenly appear behind the ninth-order Immortal King realm abyssal species, Sect Master Yu and the rest were shocked. Including that bramble monster, this was the 8th. It was twice as strong as the great sects of the Moon. Chapter 2668. Quickly get rid of these two undying God King Abyss species, Wang Xian said with a smile as he watched Roving Demon kill the heavily injured rank 9 Abyss species. All right, you clan sect leader, and the rest's eyes lit up as they nodded excitedly. The crisis of the Abyss this time might be resolved. Their eyes flashed as they surrounded the other 2 Abyss species. You clan's 3, Wang Xian's group of 5, 8 against 2, and Roving Demon, the assassin hiding in the void. The other 2 Abyss species were dealt with in a short 2 minutes. Just 3 more, and that should be enough. Wang Xian squinted his eyes, smiling as he kept the 2 corpses. Thank you, Dragon King. Now that we've dealt with those 3 Abyss species, this Abyss war might be over. You clan's sect leader and the rest said gratefully. Now is not the time to talk. Let's do it. Wang Xian chuckled, and with a flash, he charged towards the 3 Immortal King God Kings trapped by the thorny monster. Ao Xingmu and the rest followed behind. You clan's sect leader and the rest did not hesitate and charged over. At this moment, they felt extremely relaxed. Ao. When Wang Xian and the rest charged over, the 3 rank 9 Undying God King Abyss species were filled with fear and panic. Suddenly, they looked at each other, raised their heads, and let out a roar that was louder than usual. The roar resounded across the skies of the northern abyss. Hee, let out your last roar. Soon, you bunch of beasts will die. You clan sect leader and the rest revealed a cold expression as they charged towards the 3 rank 9 Abyss species. Kill. Wang Xian shouted. 11 against 3, there was no danger at all. Ha ha ha, let's kill 2. Kill all these beasts. Victory will be ours. Ho ho, we're going to win. With the help of Dragon Palace, we're going to win. We're going to kill the last Abyss species. Below, all the experts and disciples of the various forces were extremely excited. There were only 3 powerful abyssal species left, and they were soon destroyed. Below them, With the help of the members of the Dragon Palace in the Dragon Peak, they were also slaughtering. Seeing the end of the war, they were full of fighting spirit and were extremely excited. Some experts couldn't help but roar in celebration. All of this was because of the Dragon Palace. Ha ha ha, dead. All the beasts are dead. The battle continued for 5 minutes. When the last Undying King level 9 Abyss creature was killed, Yuzhan and the other two could not help but roar out. Even though they had almost fallen in this war, they couldn't help but feel excited when they saw that the threat had been resolved. Headmaster, the abyssal species below have all been killed. At this time, there was also good news from below. A moon elder reported happily. Wang Xian and the rest looked down at the countless corpses of the abyssal species. Some disciples of the Dragon Palace were quickly collecting the corpses of the abyss species that they had hunted. Victory! We've won on the northern front. The Moon Hierarch raised his arm excitedly. Victory! We won. All the experts and disciples couldn't help but cheer. Wang, sect leader Yu, and the other 3 patriarchs looked at each other. They moved and went down to the ground. They swept their eyes over the experts and disciples of all the forces. This time, it's all thanks to the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King that we could win on the northern front. You can say that the Dragon Palace is our benefactor, and the Dragon King is our benefactor. We from the northern front are not ungrateful people. Thank you, Dragon King. From now on, the matters of the Dragon Palace will be the matters of the northern front. Thank you, Dragon Palace. Thank you, Dragon King. The northern front will never forget. The Moon Hierarch stood in front of hundreds of millions of people and said loudly, Thank you, Dragon Palace. Thank you, Dragon King. The northern front will never forget. Thank you, Dragon Palace. Thank you, Dragon King. The northern front will never forget. An earth-shattering roar came from everyone. They looked up at Wang Xian and the rest, bowing and expressing their gratitude. Their voices reverberated in the vast abyss. The forces and people of the northern front understood that without the Dragon Palace, it would be good if even 10% of them could survive. I was dissatisfied with the Dragon Palace in the past. How shameful. An elder from the Moon Hierarch shook his head, knelt in the void, and kowtowed to atone for his mistake. Yu Xingxing, who had a tinge of resentment towards Wang Xian, knelt down with a flushed face. Everyone, you don't have to be so polite. Pack up. The Dragon Palace will only take the corpses of the abyss demons that we killed. You can take the rest. Wang Xian looked at them and said plainly. This was the first time the Dragon Palace had won the support of all the forces in the region. In the past, it was always a throne that emerged. Now, they were all convinced. Our disciples, keep the corpses of our companions and bury them properly in the future. Keep the corpses of the abyss demons as well and send them to the Dragon Palace later. The Moon Hierarch turned around and ordered everyone. The rest of the forces, experts, and disciples were naturally in agreement. Next, everyone started to clean up the battlefield. Wang Xian looked at this scene with a smile. To the northern front, this battle could be considered a new lease of life. However, at this moment, Tianzhan in the Dragon Peak frowned and looked at the screen in front of him. After the previous upgrade, this array could detect within a radius of 20 billion kilometers. Once there was a creature that could threaten the Dragon Palace, a black dot would appear. At this moment, at the edge of the screen, 2 black dots appeared. Moreover, these 2 black dots were flying towards their direction at a terrifying speed. They would arrive in less than 10 seconds. Such speed. Is this an abyss demon at the pinnacle of the Immortal King realm? His expression changed drastically. Dragon King. He moved and appeared in front of Wang Xian in an instant. Dragon King, we're in trouble? There's a pinnacle of the Immortal King realm flying towards us from the abyss. It should be an abyss demon. Tianzhan said immediately. What? Wang Xian was shocked. Estimated time of 40 to 50 seconds. Tianzhan continued. It's flying towards us? Shit. Wang Xian revealed a solemn expression. All members of the Dragon Palace, keep the corpses and return to the Dragon Peak immediately. Moon Hierarch, everyone else take note. There's a pinnacle of the Immortal King realm flying towards us from the abyss. It might be an abyss demon at the pinnacle of the immortal king realm. Get out of the abyss immediately. Hurry. He immediately shouted to everyone. Chapter 2669. There was no pop-up window for free reading? What? When Wang Xian's voice sounded, the sect leader of the Moon sect and the rest were taken aback. A peak, undying god-king existence is flying towards us? Don't tell me there's an even stronger abyss species flying towards us? The rest of them were shocked as they muttered uneasily. Heed Dragon King's command. Everyone, fly out of the abyss species. Quick now. You sex experts, get ready. Once the situation gets dangerous, lead the planet and escape. Sect leader Yu's pupils constricted. Seeing the members of Dragon Palace flying towards Dragon Peak, he roared at them. Quick, teleport to our planet. Once there's a peak, undying god king abyss species, lead the planet and escape. The experts from the Dragon Python group, the ancient god dynasty, and the Northern Stream sect were shocked as well. They quickly flew towards the teleportation formation. No one doubted Dragon King's words. Since Dragon Palace King had a peak, undying god king abyss species flying over, there was 100% chance. Swish, swish, swish. Around Dragon Peak, Ao Xingmu and the rest quickly took action and kept all the abyss species into Dragon Peak. Rumble. In the next moment, Dragon Peak opened and flew out of the abyss. Roar. The moment Dragon Peak flew out of the abyss, a few deafening roars could be heard from behind. Rumble. After the roars, there was a loud rumble from within the abyss as an unparalleled aura surged towards them. Everyone was taken aback as they looked into the depths of the abyss in shock. This aura, it's a peak, undying god king. Sect leader Yu and the rest looked over and their expressions changed. All disciples, return to the planet. All experts, bring the planet and leave. The further the better. A Moon sect's old ancestor roared. Quick, quick, run. Peak, undying god king abyss species, how can there be such a terrifying existence? Are we going to give up on the northern front? Give up on the northern front? After that, the entire demon island will be devoured by the abyss. Where can we escape to? This is our home. Damn it. Why is there a peak, undying god king abyss species? Just now, everyone was celebrating the victory of the war, but now they had to abandon the northern front and flee for their lives. All of their faces were filled with unwillingness and helplessness. Some of the elders were even trembling. Don't talk so much nonsense. Get into the planet and run. If you don't want to die, get away from here. An old man from the Moon sect roared. Undying god king pinnacle abyss species. Such an existence was not something they could contend against. Even if all of them worked together, they would not be able to stop the undying god king abyss seed. Of course, this was only what they thought. With Dragon Palace's current strength, they could barely contend against one undying god king abyss seed. But if there were two, they would only be slaughtered. The Dragon Palace could not even hold on for 5 minutes. Long Feng rapidly flew towards the depths of the starry sky. In the face of such danger, there was no way he could resist. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the surrounding planets also began to move, fleeing into the depths of the starry sky at a terrifying speed. While the various forces were guarding the northern line, they were also prepared for the worst. But what they did not expect was that they still lost in the end. Of the 3,000 to 4,000 planets in the northern front, a few hundred planets began to move. At this moment, it was impossible to escape with all 3,000 to 4,000 planets. Only by concentrating them on these few hundred planets. Under the condition of ensuring safety, there's no need to be too fast. Wang Xian stood on the command platform, looking at the black on the screen, then at the back. At this moment, even if the two pinnacle undying god king abyss species flew over, they would not be able to attack Long Feng. Dragon King, look into the abyss. Tianjin nodded and pointed into the abyss. Out of the 40 to 50 seconds, about 30 seconds had already passed. 30 seconds, the few hundred planets had just flown for a short while, and the abyss could still be seen clearly. Wang Xian looked over and saw 2 abyss species with towering flames appearing in the abyss. One was over 10,000 meters in size, with 4 huge wings, and the wingspan was 20 to 30,000 meters. The other abyss species had the form of a human, but its head was triangular, and its blood-red eyes could be seen from afar. It was about 2 to 3,000 meters in size, and it held a 2,000-meter blood-red bone sword in its hand. 2 terrifying abyss species with ferocious aura flew in their direction. Oh no! Look in the abyss. Those 2 abyss species are so terrifying. SSS, is this the pinnacle undying God King abyss species? Damn, why did they suddenly rush over again? If it wasn't for them, we would have one. On the surrounding planets, some people also saw the 2 abyss species. Oh no, the 2 abyss species are even faster. They actually flew out of the abyss. At this moment, everyone was shocked to see the 2 terrifying abyss species rushing out of the abyss. Their blood-red eyes scanned the surroundings. Ka. The human-shaped abyss species waved the bone sword in its hand and directly swept towards the planet over 100 million kilometers to the left. The dark red energy rushed out and turned into a ferocious monster in the air. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of an explosion resounded. Everyone was shocked to see the planet over 100 million kilometers away explode. Moreover, the abyss species' attack did not dissipate and continued to rush towards the right. A hair-raising crack appeared in the void. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. At the next moment, everyone was shocked to see that the terrifying attack on the right blew up a dozen planets. When everyone saw this, they could not help but suck in a cold breath, their faces filled with shock. At this moment, another 4-winged abyssal species stared at the planets flying toward the depths with bloodthirsty eyes. It raised its head and roared, flapped its wings, and chased with terrifying speed. Oh no! The pinnacle undying God King abyss species is chasing over. At this moment, the experts on the hundreds of planets were shocked as they roared. With the speed of the pinnacle undying God King abyss species, it would soon catch up to them. Once they caught up to them, they would explode like the dozen or so stars. Roar! At this moment, the pinnacle undying God King abyss species suddenly raised a terrifying tail. At the end of the tail was a sharp thorn. Whoosh! The sharp spike was aimed at a fleeing planet and directly shot towards it. Oh no! Everyone escaped to your own God Kingdom. The powerhouse on the planet that was attacked immediately roared in horror. Chapter 2670. No, run. We're only at the God realm. How can we run? I don't want to die. When everyone on the planet saw the huge spikes coming towards them, Eternal God Lord and above immediately fled back to their divine kingdoms. However, there were still countless God realm experts on the planet. They could not return to their own kingdoms instantly, only death awaited them. Rumble. There was no time for anyone to think. In the next moment, the terrifying thorns pierced through the entire planet. The planet did not explode, but it split into pieces. The people on it were filled with fear. Roar. The rank 9 undying God King abyss species saw this and let out an excited roar, flapping its wings. Whoosh! As for that huge spike, after piercing through the planet and splitting it into pieces, it actually spun and flew back to its tail. At the same time, its tail aimed at another planet, its eyes filled with bloodlust. Not good, it's hunting us. On the planet where its tail was aimed at, all the powerhouses and disciples were aghast when they saw this scene, and their eyes were filled with fear. This pinnacle undying God King abyss species wants to kill all of us? The expressions of everyone on the other planets also changed drastically. Looking at the planet that was torn apart, they felt a sense of sympathy for the loss of their own kind. With their speed, they could not shake off the undying God King abyss species. Although the eternal God Lord and undying God King experts could return to their kingdoms to avoid this crisis, but the rest of the disciples below the God Lord realm would die. These young people were the future hope of the Northern Front. Not good. Wang Xian, who was at the front, saw this and his expression changed. If this continued, all the planets would be destroyed by the undying God King abyss species, and there would be countless deaths. Let's try this weapon. If it doesn't work, Dragon Palace has tried its best. Wang Xian muttered. a green gourd appeared in his palm. Immortal slaying gourd. Wang Xian shouted and took off the cover of the gourd. A sword aura flew out and circled around the gourd. Let's test your power. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and stared at the green sword aura. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The green sword chi trembled, and in the next moment, it directly drilled into the void crack. Under Wang Xian's senses, the green sword chi attacked the peak divine king abyss species at a terrifying speed. Roar. A peak stage god king abyss species that was preparing to attack a planet with its sharp tail suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. Its expression changed slightly, and it let out a roar. Its tail quickly changed the direction of its attack and directly attacked the void on the right. Buzz. The green flying sword also emerged from the crack in the void and collided with the huge thorn. Boom! A terrifying collision sound was heard, and a vast amount of energy swept through the surroundings. What's the situation? Everyone on the hundreds of planets that were fleeing for their lives saw the sudden collision, and their faces were filled with shock. Ayo. At this moment, the roar of that undying god king pinnacle abyss species could be heard. The four-winged abyss species charged out of the chaotic shockwave. Its tail was bleeding profusely. It stared furiously ahead, filled with rage and bloodlust. It's much more powerful than I imagined. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. All of you, hurry up and run. Wang Xian held the immortal slaying gourd and shouted. A red sword chi appeared in front of him. That attack was from the Dragon King and the rest? Hurry up, the Dragon King is buying time for us. It should be the Dragon King using his trump card. Some experts heard Wang Xian and thought to themselves. All the planets were frantically escaping. Boom. At this moment, they saw a flaming longsword piercing through the void from the direction of the Dragon Palace. The terrifying flaming longsword could tear the void apart with just a wisp of flame. From afar, it looked like a flaming meteor. The flaming longsword directly attacked that undying god king pinnacle abyss species. When that undying god king pinnacle abyss species saw the flaming longsword, it raised its head, flapped its wings, and let out a roar. Boom! Its wings trembled, and powerful dark laws condensed into solid feathers, colliding with the flaming longsword. Boom, boom, boom. Another terrifying explosion was heard. When that undying god king pinnacle abyss species saw the power of the explosion, its expression changed, and it immediately retreated. It spat out another torrent of darkness from its mouth. 10 seconds later, that terrifying explosion finally dissipated completely. Roar. It let out another furious roar. Roar. But at this moment, another roar was heard from behind. That human-shaped abyss species stared at it with its blood-red eyes. Roar, roar. It looked ahead with a furious expression. After letting out a roar, it turned around and flew towards the abyss. That abyss species gave up. It gave up on chasing. Great. Phew. It's all thanks to the Dragon King. Otherwise, we would be finished. Thank you, Dragon King. Thank you, Dragon King. When everyone saw the undying god king pinnacle abyss species leaving, they heaved a sigh of relief and thanked Dragon Peak. Luckily, it didn't chase after us. Otherwise, hundreds of planets would have been destroyed. Wang Xian murmured and kept the immortal slaying gourd. Thank you, Dragon King. At this moment, dozens of experts from Moon Sect, Dragon Python Group, Beichuan Sect, and Ancient God Dynasty flew over and thanked Wang Xian. It's all right. Wang Xian shook his head and looked across hundreds of planets. Where are you guys going? His words made the experts of the various forces slightly silent and helpless. The starry sky at the northern front has a higher concentration of spiritual energy. It's very suitable for humans to survive. We can't go back there for now. There's a good place about 1 trillion kilometers ahead. Let's go there and discuss further. But we don't know if the abyss will expand. If it continues to expand, and if the two pinnacle undying god king abyss species don't leave, we can only head to the center of the demon island. The sect leader of Moon Sect said with a sullen face. Wang Xian nodded and did not probe further. He looked at them and said, Give me an ocean of a planet later. I want to build a palace and a teleportation formation. That's not a problem. We'll send someone to clear out an ocean for you guys. The sect leader of Moon Sect nodded immediately. All right. Wang Xian smiled. Although the northern front had fallen, the resources that the Dragon Palace had gained were terrifying. Chapter 2671. The northern front is lost. Our homes are gone. Sigh, this battle is too tragic. It's good enough that we are still alive. Too many people died in this battle. If not for the Dragon King and the experts from Dragon Palace, we would have been buried in the void at the northern front. But even so, I don't know how long we can stay here. Somewhere in the starry sky of Fiend Island, there were more than 400 planets hovering there. Countless people on those planets were discussing this matter. After 10 hours of flying, the 400 planets arrived at the place mentioned by Sect Leader Yu and settled down temporarily. As for what the future held, no one knew. Even Sect Leader Yu had no idea what would happen next. Dragon King. This is the ocean of Planet Beckoning Moon. It's also the best ocean among the 400 planets. You can build the teleportation formation and palace here. At this moment, Sect Leader Yu, a group of elders, Dragon Python Group, Beichuan Sect, and Ancient God Dynasty were in the sky above the ocean of Beckoning Moon Planet. Sect Leader Yu said with a smile. Dragon Palace wanted to build a teleportation formation in the ocean of a planet. Although this occupied their territory, who wouldn't want to build a relationship with Dragon Palace? In this Battle of the Abyss, the strength that Dragon Palace had displayed had completely convinced the forces at the northern front. Not to mention the strength that had easily killed a few rank 9 Abyss demons at the beginning, and the 2 terrifying swords that were the trump cards to fight against pinnacle immortal god kings. How could they not lick the boots of such a powerful Dragon Palace? All right, thank you. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and revealed a satisfied look. The planet at the northern front had probably been destroyed by the Abyss demons. Build a new one here for the teleportation formation. Next, we have some matters to settle. We will meet up with you after that. Wang Xian cupped his fists and flew to the bottom of the sea. Behind him, all the members of Dragon Palace followed and entered the ocean. Sect Leader Yu and the rest nodded without any objections. They exchanged looks and left. Boom, boom, boom. With the system, a Dragon Palace was built quickly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The group of members entered the Dragon Palace and immediately arrived at the main Dragon Palace through the teleportation formation. Prime Minister Turtle, check all the gains and estimate the improvement of the disciples of Dragon Palace, said Wang Xian to Prime Minister Turtle immediately after he entered. It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle was full of smiles. The Dragon Palace gained a lot from this war. Dragon King, there are a total of 8 rank 9 Undying God King corpses, 72 rank 8 Undying God King corpses, 210 rank 7 Undying God King corpses, 1123 rank 6 Undying God King corpses. There are a total of 231. 2 million abyssal species. Soon, Prime Minister Turtle walked over and reported to Wang Xian. Let all the Dragon Palace members improve. He narrowed his eyes slightly and said with a smile, Dragon King, I suggest we upgrade the Heavenly Array to the Undying God King level. Although the consumption is a little high, it's worth it. Prime Minister Turtle said. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. The current Undying God King Abyss corpses were not enough. He needed another 20 rank 8 corpses. Although this would affect the birth of a rank 9 expert in the Dragon Palace, they could have a peak Divine King to oversee the Dragon Palace. The most important thing was the upgrade of the Heavenly Array. It could raise the Dragon Peak to the limit and kill 2 to 3 peak Undying God King Abyssal species at the same time. This would be a terrifying upgrade for the Dragon Palace, and the consumption of resources was worth it. As for the rest, use rank 8 corpses to increase the strength of a rank 9, rank 7 corpses to increase the strength of a rank 8, and so on. Wang Xian said after some thought. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. With this upgrade, the Dragon Palace could increase the strength of 5 rank 9 members, 23 rank 8 members, and over 100 rank 7 members. As for the other members, the upgrade was even more terrifying. There were over 20 million corpses this time, and the weakest among them were level 3 or 4 Eternal Godlord. With so many corpses, the strength of the 400,000 members of the Dragon Palace would increase. After the upgrade, the weakest member of the Dragon Palace might be level 7 or 8 Eternal Godlord. The number of God King experts could reach 80,000 to 90,000, or even 100,000. After this upgrade, the strength of the Dragon Palace would far exceed the strength of the entire Northern Front. They could even easily wipe out the Great Moon Sect. Riches come from danger. The War Dragon Palace can only improve faster through the battles. Wang Xian murmured as the corner of his mouth curved slightly. Over the next period of time, all the members of the Dragon Palace entered a phase of crazy upgrading. Wang Xian did not upgrade, but he was free. 7 days later, the upgrade of batches of members was completed. Reporting to Dragon King, the sect leader of the Moon sect on the Devil Island has something important to discuss with you. On this day, a member of the Dragon Palace who stayed on the moon-beckoning planet rushed over and reported to Wang Xian. Huh, is there something important? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. He moved and arrived at the Dragon Palace through the teleportation formation. Master. As soon as he came out, he saw Bei Shuang. What's the matter with the sect leader of the Moon sect? Did something happen? Wang Xian asked as he flew out with Bei Shuang. Master, the sect leader of the Moon sect is outside. Something big happened at the Northern Front. The abyss is swallowing us, and it's not far from us. Bei Shuang said with a solemn face. Dragon King! Dragon King! At this time, the sect leader of the Moon sect shouted when he saw Wang Xian. I heard from Bei Shuang. Where is the abyss now? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, let's go and take a look. The sect leader of the Moon sect said. All right. He nodded, and the group immediately flew towards the Northern Front. Ga. After flying for 3 hours, the group heard the roars of the abyss species. Wang Xian stopped in his tracks and looked ahead. His eyes flickered with radiance. The abyss ahead was so deep that it had no luster. A large number of abyss species had gathered at the edge. Dark energy was emitting from the bodies of the abyss species. As the energy gathered together, the entire abyss expanded rapidly. In just 7 days, the abyss has reached here. In a few more days, the place where we are now will be enveloped by the abyss. Unless we can destroy the abyss species here, otherwise, sect leader Bei Chuan looked ahead helplessly and said bitterly, with 2 abyss species at the pinnacle of the God King realm, we won't be able to hold them off. Several experts beside him shook their heads. Do you have any preparations now? Wang Xian asked with a slight frown. Continue to the center of the abyss of the devil. We have already made contact with the forces there and are ready to establish the Devil Island Alliance. Chapter 2672. Wonderful pop-up window free reading. We heard that Star Lady has broken through to the Undying God King realm. We are here to congratulate you. At the same time, in a side hall of a vast palace in the Imperial Court, Emperor Star Lady had just ended her conversation with Wang Xian when a few people walked in. Leading them were Emperor Solsong, Di Ming, and Dijia. They walked towards her with smiles. They were shocked that Emperor Star Lady had broken through to the Undying God King realm. Huh, welcome. Please take a seat. Emperor Star Lady looked at them with a smile. The most outstanding youth of this generation in the Imperial Court had come to visit her personally. Things had changed. Haha, Star Maiden, you should know about the expedition in 10 days, right? How are your preparations going? Emperor Spirit Song smiled as he asked the Emperor Star Maiden from his seat. There's nothing to prepare. What about you guys? Emperor Star Lady looked at them and asked. We've already revealed our strength. We're the youngest ones in this expedition, and our strength is only average. We've come to discuss this matter with you, Star Maiden. Why don't we join forces when the time comes? Emperor Spirit Song looked at her and said, That's not a problem. We can take care of each other if we fight together. Emperor Star Lady nodded and said, I don't have many people on my side. Wang Xian. The Dragon King will send some people to help me. She looked at Emperor Solsong and the rest. This expedition wasn't a simple battle, but a life and death battle. Emperor Solsong and the rest wanted to work together, and Emperor Star Lady naturally wouldn't reject them. In terms of connections and information, Emperor Soul Song, and the rest were much stronger. The Dragon Palace will send people? Congratulations, Star Lady. I guess you're going to be the first in our generation again. Emperor Soul Song and the rest looked at each other enviously when they heard Emperor Star Lady's words. The Dragon Palace won't send too many experts. Emperor Star Lady was taken aback. She shook her head and smiled. Given the Dragon Palace's strength, they can just send a few experts. Deming said, "Is that so?" Emperor Star Lady was shocked. Star Lady, you don't know the Dragon Palace's strength? Emperor Spirit Song and the others exclaimed when they saw the Emperor Star Maiden's expression. Now that the Devil Islands have fallen to the north, the Dragon Palace's name has risen to fame. The Dragon Palace and the Crescent Great Sect have killed 8 Undying God King stage abyss species. Someone on the I said that the Dragon Palace's strength can take on at least 7 to 8 Undying God King stage experts. The Dragon Palace's current strength is considered not bad among the large sections. This time, the Dragon King said that he would send a few people to help you. Just a few 7th Order Undying God King realm experts. Star Maiden, your forces are already strong enough, far surpassing the previous princes and princesses. They continued to speak enviously. I just came out of seclusion, so I don't know about this. The Emperor's Star Maiden's gaze flickered as she shook her head. She was also slightly shocked. How did the Dragon Palace become so powerful? This improvement was too fast. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Far away in the main Dragon Palace of the South Star Galaxy, Wang Xian stood before the Dragon Transformation Pool and watched the last batch of members of the Dragon Palace leveling up. He smiled. As of today, the Dragon Palace had 1 Pinnacle Undying God King, 10 Ninth Order Undying God Kings, 47 8th Order Undying God Kings, and close to 200 7th Order Undying God Kings. Currently, the weakest member of the Dragon Palace was an 8th Order Eternal Godlord. The number of Undying God Kings had reached about 85,000. The strength of the Dragon Palace had reached an unprecedented level. Get all the members of the Dragon Palace to train hard in the Dragon Palace to raise their combat strength. Send the experts of the Fire Hammer race to the Dragon Peak to forge the Dragon Peak divine weapons. Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. Wang Xian moved and immediately arrived at the beckoning moon planet. Flying to the Dragon Peak, Wang Xian saw a heavenly array setting up arrays on it. Because the core of the Dragon Peak was a Pinnacle Undying God King divine tree, this was the last time the Dragon Peak could be upgraded. Standing on the command platform, Wang Xian looked at the void in front of him. In the next few days, Wang Xian and the rest followed the forces on the northern battlefront and headed towards the center of the Demon Island. 5 days later, when Wang Xian stood on the Dragon Star, he could see the vital planet in front of him. He could also see some experts and spaceships shuttling through the void. The surrounding starry sky was also more prosperous and lively. Master, we're almost at the center of the Demon Island. The sect leader of the Moon sect asked if you would like to meet the other forces with them. At this time, Bei Shuang flew over and said to Wang Xian, "Meet the other forces?" Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before nodding. "All right, shall we head over now?" "Yes, Master." Bei Shuang nodded. The two of them moved and flew forward immediately. Dragon King. In front of them, the experts from the Moon Sect, North Chuan Sect, Dragon Python Group, Ancient God Dynasty, and other forces shouted when they saw Wang Xian. "Everyone, follow me." In front of the group of over 20 people, an old man made an inviting gesture and immediately stood on a small island in front of them. The small island had a radius of 10 kilometers and was floating in the sky. "Thank you, everyone from Sky Edge," the Moon Sect leader said plainly as he landed on the small island. The rest of the group also landed on it, and the island immediately flew forward. In a while, all the forces on the Demon Island will probably be here. They will discuss the alliance and the next steps. The Moon Sect leader said to everyone, "Master, there are 4 sects on the Demon Island. They are Moon Sect, Sky Edge, Nine Heavens Sect, and Broken Sky Sect. Moon Sect and Broken Sky Sect are similar in strength, while Nine Heavens Sect and Sky Edge are much stronger and have Pinnacle Divine King experts." Bei Shuang transmitted her voice to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded slightly. He knew about Moon Sect, Sky Edge, Nine Heaven's Edge, and Broken Sky Sect. Sky Edge. He mumbled to himself as a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. According to the Emperor Star Maiden, Sky Edge was the force that pursued Blue Moon and the rest. I have to confirm it, Wang Xian thought to himself as his eyes sparkled. We're here, everyone. Everyone, follow me. Not long after, the island floated above a planet. The old man who had come to greet them moved his body and flew down. Wang Xian and the rest immediately followed behind. Right below them was an area shrouded in gray fog. They could vaguely see some figures below. Everyone from the Moon Sect is here. Just as they were about to land, a voice sounded. Chapter 2673. We heard that the Star Lady came out of seclusion and broke through to the Undying God King realm, so we came to congratulate her. At the same time, in a side hall of the vast palace in the imperial court, the Emperor's Star Princess had just ended her conversation with Wang Xian when a few people walked in. Di Hungo, Di Ming, and Di Jia, who were in the lead, walked towards her with smiles on their faces. As for the Emperor's Star Maiden breaking through to the Undying God King realm, their hearts were slightly shaken. Welcome, please take a seat. The Emperor's Star Maiden looked at them as a smile appeared on her face. The most outstanding youth of this generation in the imperial court had personally come to visit her. Things remain the same, but people have changed. Haha, Star Maiden, you should know about the expedition in 10 days, right? How are your preparations going? Emperor Spirit Song smiled as he asked the Emperor's Star Maiden from his seat. There's nothing to prepare. What about everyone? The Emperor's Star Maiden looked at them and asked. We've already revealed our strength. We're the youngest ones in this expedition, and our strength is only average. We've come to discuss this matter with you, Star Maiden. Why don't we join forces when the time comes? Emperor Spirit Song looked at her and said, Of course, that's not a problem. We can take care of each other when we fight together. The Emperor Star Princess nodded her head slightly. After pondering for a while, she said, I don't have many people on my side. Wang Xian. The Dragon King will send some people over to help me. As she spoke, she looked at Emperor Spirit Song and the others. The expedition this time was not a simple battle, but a battle of life and death. Emperor Spirit Song and the others wanted to join forces, and the Emperor Star Maiden naturally would not refuse. In terms of connections and information, Emperor Spirit Song and the others were much stronger. Will the Dragon Palace send someone? Congratulations, Star Maiden. This time, the number one meritorious deed of our generation is reserved for you again. When Emperor Spirit Song and the others heard Star Lady's words, they looked at each other and said enviously, The Dragon Palace won't send too many experts over. The Emperor Star Maiden paused for a moment before shaking her head and smiling. With the Dragon Palace's strength, it's enough to send a few experts over. Di Ming said, Really? The Emperor Star Maiden was astonished. Star Maiden, don't you know the exact strength of the Dragon Palace? Emperor Spirit Song and the others exclaimed when they saw the Emperor Star Maiden's expression. Now that the Devil Islands have fallen to the north, the Dragon Palace's name has risen. The Dragon Palace and the Crescent Great Sect have killed 8 Undying God King Stage Abyss species. Someone on the AI said that the Dragon Palace's strength is enough to take on 7 to 8 Undying God King Stage experts. The Dragon Palace's current strength is considered not bad among the large sections. This time, the Dragon King said that he would send a few people to help you. Just a few 7th Order Undying God King realm experts. Star Maiden, your forces are already strong enough, far surpassing the previous princes and princesses. They continued to speak enviously. I just came out of seclusion, so I don't know about this. The Emperor Star Maiden's gaze flickered as she shook her head. She was also slightly shocked. How did the Dragon Palace become so powerful? This improvement was too fast. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Far away in the main Dragon Palace of the South Star Galaxy, Wang Xian stood before the Dragon Transformation Pool and watched the last batch of members of the Dragon Palace leveling up. He smiled. As of today, the Dragon Palace had 1 Pinnacle Undying God King, 10 Ninth Order Undying God Kings, 47 8th Order Undying God Kings, and close to 200 7th Order Undying God Kings. Currently, the weakest member of the Dragon Palace was an 8th Order Eternal God Lord. The number of Undying God Kings had reached about 85,000. The strength of the Dragon Palace had reached an unprecedented level. Get all the members of the Dragon Palace to train hard in the Dragon Palace to raise their combat strength. Send the experts of the Fire Hammer race to the Dragon Peak to forge the Dragon Peak divine weapons. Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. Wang Xian moved and immediately arrived at the beckoning moon planet. Flying to the Dragon Peak, Wang Xian saw a heavenly array setting up arrays on it. Because the core of the Dragon Peak was a pinnacle Undying God King divine tree, this was the last time the Dragon Peak could be upgraded. Standing on the command platform, Wang Xian looked at the void in front of him. In the next few days, Wang Xian and the rest followed the forces on the northern battlefront and headed towards the center of the Demon Island. 5 days later, when Wang Xian stood on the Dragon Star, he could see the vital planet in front of him. He could also see some experts and spaceships shuttling through the void. The surrounding starry sky was also more prosperous and lively. Master, we're almost at the center of the Demon Island. The sect leader of the Moon sect asked if he would like to meet the other forces with them. At this time, Bei Shuang flew over and said to Wang Xian, "Meet the other forces?" Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before nodding. "All right, shall we head over now?" "Yes, Master." Bei Shuang nodded. The two of them moved and immediately flew forward. Dragon King. In front of them, the experts from the Moon Sect, North Chuan Sect, Dragon Python Group, Ancient God Dynasty, and other forces shouted when they saw Wang Xian. "Everyone, follow me." In front of the group of over 20 people, an old man made an inviting gesture and immediately stood on a small island in front of them. The small island had a radius of 10 kilometers and was floating in the sky. "Thank you, everyone from Sky Edge," the Moon Sect leader said plainly and landed on the small island. The rest of the group also landed on the island, and the island flew forward immediately. In a while, all the forces on the Demon Island will probably be here. They will discuss the alliance and the next steps. The Moon Sect leader said to everyone, "Master, there are 4 sects on the Demon Island. They are Moon Sect, Sky Edge, Nine Heavens Sect, and Broken Sky Sect. Moon Sect and Broken Sky Sect are similar in strength. Nine Heavens Sect and Sky Edge are much stronger and have pinnacle divine king experts." Bei Shuang transmitted her voice to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded slightly. He knew about Moon Sect, Sky Edge, Nine Heavens Edge, and Broken Sky Sect. "Sky Edge," he murmured as killing intent flashed in his eyes. According to the Emperor's Star Maiden, Sky Edge was the force that pursued Blue Moon and the rest. "I have to confirm it," he thought to himself as his eyes flickered. "We're here, everyone. Everyone, follow me." Not long after, the island floated above a planet. The old man who had come to greet them moved his body and flew down. Wang Xian and the rest immediately followed behind. Right below them was an area shrouded in gray fog. They could vaguely see some figures below. "Everyone from the Moon Sect is here." Just as they were about to land, a voice sounded. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings. Hundreds of people were sitting around and looking at them. Chapter 2674. Thank you for waiting here. Sect Master Yu glanced at the crowd and cupped his hands in thanks. "Hee, take a seat." In the middle, the people from the 2 forces sat there and gestured to them with a smile. Sect Master Yu and the rest nodded and looked at Wang Xian. The few of them sat at the front. Wang Xian sat there and scanned the surroundings. There were 2 Undying God King pinnacle experts, also sitting in the middle. 10 Ninth Order Undying God King experts sat opposite and in the middle. The weakest was an 8th Order Undying God King. They could be said to be the overlords of the Demon Island. "How's the situation at the northern front?" As the group sat down, an Undying God King in the middle asked. "Old Ancestor Sky's Edge, our people have been monitoring the situation there last month. The abyss has been expanding. It will take half a year to reach here." Sect Master Yu replied, "Last month, your failure to defend the northern front has brought us a lot of trouble." On the opposite side, An old man said with a slight frown. Then your broken heavens can try. If you guys defend, you probably won't last that long. An old ancestor from Moon Sect said, All right, everyone should understand the situation at the northern front. 2 Undying God King Pinnacle Abyss species are not something Moon Sect can handle. It'll be troublesome even for us, said the peak stage Undying God King from the 9 Clouds. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man from the heaven-shattering sect shut his mouth obediently. If it was them, they wouldn't be able to defend either. The abyss at the northern front has to be stopped 1 trillion kilometers away. They can't step into our central region. Old ancestor from Sky Edge said, If it's 1 trillion kilometers away, we still have 3 to 4 months to prepare. Sect Master, you replied. Let's not talk about other things first. Now that the entire Demon Island is facing the abyss threat, we have to unite. All forces have to take action. You guys haven't made a move yet. The other forces haven't made a move either. The northern front will be defended by you guys. Is that all right? 9 Firmament Old Ancestor looked at Old Ancestor Sky Edge. No problem. Forefather World's Edge nodded. I have a suggestion. There are still a few months of buffer time at the northern abyss. During this period, we should attack the abyss species in the eastern abyss with all our might. Perhaps in a few months, we can completely pacify the eastern abyss. The sect master of the heaven-shattering sect said. What's the specific situation in the eastern abyss? Old Ancestor Sky Horizon asked. 2 Undying God King Peak Abyss beasts and 12 rank 9 beasts. As for whether there are more in the abyss, I don't know, replied the 9th Cloud Ancestor. If we join forces, we can get rid of these abyssal species quickly. Moreover, we can also obtain some abyssal crystals. Old Ancestor Sky's Edge's eyes flickered as he nodded. Since this is the decision, the other forces have no objections, right? Ancestral Patriarch of the 9 Clouds looked around and asked, No, we will follow the plan of the 4 great sections. The experts from the various forces immediately nodded. Then it's decided. Old Ancestor World's Edge nodded. The Demon Islands shall unite and advance and retreat together. This must be the Dragon King, right? As soon as he finished his sentence, he looked at Wang Xian and raised his eyebrows. Yes. Wang Xian nodded to him. He's the Dragon King? The experts from the other forces immediately looked over with astonishment in their eyes. They had also received various news about the Dragon Palace from the artificial intelligence system. According to some people at the northern front, the Dragon Palace was much stronger than the previous month. The disciples and experts of the previous month did not object to this. Now, they had a high status among the forces at the northern front. According to the artificial intelligence system, the Dragon Palace might be the strongest apart from Sky Horizon and the 9th Cloud Ancestor. They were also slightly stronger than Broken Heaven. The Dragon Palace is joining the Demon Islands alliance this time? Asked Old Ancestor Sky Horizon plainly. Old Ancestor Sky Horizon, the Dragon Palace doesn't belong to the Demon Islands and won't join our alliance. However, they will send experts to fight the abyssal species with us. The previous month's sect leader immediately answered, This is good news. However, I hope the Dragon Palace won't flee when they encounter danger. Otherwise, we will have to deal with more troubles. Old Ancestor Sky Horizon said to Wang Xian, Let's put everything in perspective. If there's no great danger, the Dragon Palace will not retreat. However, if the enemy is too strong for us, the Dragon Palace will leave immediately without hesitation. Wang Xian looked at Old Ancestor Sky Horizon and said plainly. It was the same as what he had said previously at the northern front. Everyone could understand what he was trying to say. His words made Old Ancestor Sky Horizon and Old Ancestor 9 Cloud frown. Let's discuss the encirclement and annihilation of the abyssal species in the east. Old Ancestor 9 Cloud changed the topic and said, following which, the group immediately talked about the abyssal species in the east. Wang Xian smiled in response. The other party understood what he meant and the actions of the Dragon Palace. To put it bluntly, they also knew that the Dragon Palace was here for the crystals of the abyssal species. However, the Dragon Palace was strong enough. With the Dragon Palace around, they could reduce their losses significantly. This could be said to be mutually beneficial. After all, A force like the Dragon Palace couldn't ask for help without sufficient benefits. Even if they were a little dissatisfied with the actions of the Dragon Palace, they wouldn't reject such a thing. Next, they discussed the matter of fighting the abyssal species in the east. 2 pinnacle Undying God King realm abyssal species, Sky Horizon and Nine Cloud, would fight against them. Each force would take 1 abyssal species. The other forces would hunt the other abyssal species. The discussion didn't last long before the decision was made. After a day, all the forces set off. Dragon King, let's set off together tomorrow. Sect leader Yu and the rest said before they started their preparations. Wang Xian nodded and flew towards the Dragon Peak. How's the preparation for sky formation? He asked when he came to the command platform. Dragon King, we'll need another 5 days to complete the modification. Sky Formation answered. We'll be heading to the abyss in the east of the Demon Island tomorrow. I reckon we'll have to clean up the abyssal species in the east in the next few days. Wang Xian said to him. It's not a problem to fight within 5 days. However, there are some areas that haven't been improved and haven't reached the peak. Sky Formation frowned slightly. It's all right. We're mainly fighting the abyssal species below the 9th Order Immortal King realm. The danger of this war isn't high. Wang Xian shook his head. It wouldn't be difficult to mobilize the forces of the entire Demon Island to encircle the abyssal species in the east. Chapter 2675. Dragon King, time to depart. The next day, Yu sect came to inform them. Let's go. Wang Xian looked around the Dragon Peak and said with a smile. Rumble. Dragon Peak opened and soon arrived at Yu sect's land. The land, with a radius of tens of millions of kilometers, was densely packed with people. These were the experts from the northern front. Let's hope we get something good this time, Wang Xian murmured with a smile. This time, there were 60,000 Dragon Palace disciples in Dragon Peak, and all of them were Undying God Kings. 35,000 Heaven's Eye Arrow unit members, all of them Undying God King level. Another 12,000 God King level Mysterious Beasts, 10,000 Undying God King level Starwood Dragons. The rest were experts from the Fire Hammer race. Such strength was definitely comparable to 9 Heavens Sect and Sky Edge. Is that Dragon Peak the strength of Dragon Palace? The entire Dragon Peak is giving off such a strong aura. It is. That Dragon Peak is the war machine of Dragon Palace. I heard it can trap 3 9th level Undying God King experts. No matter how strong it is, it can't be stronger than our Heaven's Edge ruler. It can't be compared to the Heaven's Edge ruler, but this Dragon Peak is still very strong. As the Dragon Peak advanced forward, there were quite a number of forces around it. Each faction's disciples and experts were standing on huge flying transports. An entire planet was moving forward, and a void ocean was traversing through the void. There were also technological warships that spanned thousands of kilometers. The most eye-catching one was a ruler-shaped treasure. The ruler was not very long, only 10,000 meters long, but there were tens of millions of people standing on it. These people looked very small, like ants. Heaven's Edge ruler, it had the ability to travel within a foot of space. The entire ruler was also a powerful treasure. It was the most precious treasure of the World Edge sect. The experts and disciples of the various forces glanced around and started discussing among themselves. They were especially curious about the Dragon Palace that had risen in fame in the northern front. Dragon King, the journey will take 5 days. 5 days is just enough to complete the Dragon Peak. Tianzhan stood on the command platform and said with a smile, "That's even better." Wang Xian chuckled at the side as he swept his gaze across the surrounding forces. The strong cultivators of the continent of the 9 clouds and broken sky were in the deep abyss in the east. The groups around them were from the center of the island. The strongest was naturally the World Edge sect. There were 5 other forces at the same level as the Beichuan sect and hundreds of weaker forces. There were hundreds of millions of people going this time, and there were also many war machines, so the various forces did not choose to go through the teleportation array. That Horizon ruler is very strong. Wang Xian looked over and said plainly, "Not a bad weapon. With an expert controlling it, it can rival a peak Undying God King." Tianjin nodded. In the next few days, the group of forces rushed towards the abyss in the east of the Demon Island. 2/5 of the Devil's Island had been devoured by the abyss, especially the eastern and northern regions. Therefore, Wang Xian and the rest arrived at the front of the abyss after 5 days. Similar to the northern front, there was a bustling area in front of the front line. There were at least tens of thousands of habitable planets around it. This was a more prosperous area than the northern front. However, this place was similar to the northern front in that everyone was in a hurry and had a murderous aura about them. Everyone is here. Let's discuss the attack. In the void, dozens of figures appeared and said to Wang Xian and the other forces, "Haha, great. Let's slaughter these beasts." The experts of the various forces flew out from the large war machines. "Let's go over too," Wang Xian said to Tianjun, flew out from the Dragon Peak and headed towards the abyss. Rumble, rumble, rumble. One by one, top-notch experts floated in the void and swept their gazes forward. From here, they could see a part of the abyss. 2 peak undying God King abyss species. Wang Xian looked to the center and saw 2 powerful abyss species being guarded by a group of subordinates. "We will settle the center with Zhao. You guys can distribute the rest." The old ancestor of the Sky Edge sect said without hesitation, "Leave the center to us. We don't need reinforcements." The sect leader of the Skybreaking sect looked at Moon sect and the rest and said, "Then leave the right to Moon sect and the other forces." The old ancestor of the Sky Edge sect looked to Moon sect and Wang Xian and said plainly, "The encirclement this time wasn't too difficult for the forces on the Demon Island. It could be said that the abyss species in the abyss was a huge resource. There was no danger, and they could obtain countless abyss crystals. Naturally, the forces would fight for it. It was especially so for the major sections. The abyss crystal was a very powerful cultivation treasure. Moon sect and Dragon Palace will be on the left near the center. You guys can distribute the rest." The Moon sect leader frowned slightly, but he had no choice. Sky Edge and Zhao were stronger than them. Since the Skybreaking sect was the host here, they could only choose the rest. The harvest this time might not be satisfactory, Wang Xian murmured. "All right, distribute in 10 minutes. All disciples will gather in front of the abyss in 10 minutes and attack together. Don't let these beasts escape." Old Ancestor Zhao said coldly, "Yes." The leaders of the forces answered and started preparing. "Bring the Dragon Peak here," Wang Xian said to Tianjun. Tianjun nodded and returned to the Dragon Peak. Soon, the huge Dragon Peak arrived at the front of the abyss. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Soon, the surrounding forces gathered. The experts and disciples of Moon sect also flew over. There were over 10 million of them, and they were all elites of Moon sect. "Dragon King, we will clear the abyss species in this area. There are 2 ninth order undying God King realm existences. Old Feng has not fully recovered. We will leave these 2 to the Dragon Palace. We will clear the ones 100 million kilometers away." The Moon sect leader and old ancestor flew over and said to Wang Xian, "Huh. Many thanks to the great sects of the Moon sect for giving way." Wang Xian was slightly taken aback as he said to them, "Haha, compared to the help from the Dragon Palace, this is a small matter." The Moon sect leader and the rest laughed and did not mind. A 9th order abyss crystal was extremely precious to them. There were even powerful 8th order undying God King realm experts who broke through because of a 9th order abyss crystal. With the 3 9th order undying God King realm experts from Moon sect, they could easily eliminate one. Chapter 2676. All forces, get ready. In front of the abyss species, 500 to 600 million people stared coldly ahead. Every single one of them exuded a strong will to fight. Different from the previous battles, all the experts and disciples had their eyes lit up. The alliance of the entire evil island meant that there was no suspense in this battle. Now, all the experts and disciples wanted to kill more abyss species and obtain their crystals. When the command came from the center, all the experts and disciples got ready. "Attack! Kill these beasts! Kill!" The command came from the center of the battlefield. "Ha ha ha! Kill! Kill them all! All disciples, kill! All the abyss species we kill will belong to you. Kill!" The leaders of the various forces immediately roared. "Go!" On the Dragon Peak, Wang Xian let out a soft cry. The huge dragon peak immediately started moving and charged towards the abyss species ahead. All Empyrean Arrow Section members, get ready! Wang Xian roared, his eyes fixed on the Dragon Palace, which spanned over 100 million kilometers. In this region, there were about 7 to 8 million abyss species, 2 rank 9 and 12 rank 8. Given the strength of the Dragon Palace, it would be a piece of cake to destroy them. There are too many wolves and not enough meat. Although there are more abyss species in the center, it's us, 9 firmaments and Sky Edge, dealing with them together. There won't be many abyss species here. Elder Hua, let's take care of those rank 8 Undying God King abyss species and split them evenly. At the center, the disciples of Sky Edge and 9 firmaments also charged into the abyss. Some of the experts and disciples who were filled with fighting spirit frowned and said helplessly when they saw this scene. These two forces had the absolute strength to crush the abyss species. Elder, we have too many experts here. If we want to split some rank 8 Undying God King abyss species, we would need a few people to share them. At the front, the experts locked their eyes on the abyss species. At the edge, a deacon of the Horizon sect said helplessly, even the elders had to split them evenly. It would be even harder for them to get more. Indeed, but there's nothing we can do about it. Elder Tianya shook his head and stared ahead. Let's do it. Although we are stronger, we still have to fight for a period of time. Elder, the other powerhouses of Horizon can easily kill the abyssal species here. Why don't we go to the side and kill a few tier 8 abyssal species there? That'll be much better than this place. As soon as Elder Tianya finished speaking, a deacon raised his eyebrows and suggested, The elder of the Sky Edge sect paused and his eyes flickered. That's the battlefield between the Moon sect and the Dragon Palace. It's the Dragon Palace. Their Dragon Peak is just beside us. Elder, the Dragon Palace came here empty-handed. What can they say if we go and help them? The deacon said in a low voice. Elder, we only killed a few rank 8 abyssal species. The Dragon Palace can't do anything to us. He continued to speak. This caused Elder Tianya's heart to tremble slightly. Let's go. When he glanced at the situation here, he immediately flew to the left. Let's go. We'll follow Elder. The deacon from the Sky Edge Great Sect waved at the people behind him and followed behind him excitedly. Haha, following Elder. We don't need too many abyssal species crystals. 2 or 3 6th order Immortal King Realm crystals will be enough. I'll be satisfied if I can get a tier 5 one. That's fine. We have 50 to 60 people, and we'll help them kill a few abyssal species. At most, we'll take about 100. What can they say? There's no problem at all. In an instant, 50 to 60 people followed behind Elder Tianya, flying towards the left with excited expressions. Here, each of them could at most obtain crystals that were 2 levels lower than them. But if they followed Elder Tianya to the right, they could obtain 2 crystals that were 1 level lower than them. Furthermore, with Elder Tianya around, they had nothing to worry about. After all, their Elder Tianya was a 9th order Immortal King Realm expert. The strongest expert of the Dragon Palace was only a 9th order Immortal King Realm expert. Given Elder Tianya's influence, they wouldn't dare to say anything if they helped them kill some abyssal species. The war had already begun, so what was the point of doing so in order to raise their strength? The path of an expert was a path of struggle. And? Them? Around them, some saw the group flying towards the left and were slightly puzzled. However, they didn't follow recklessly. After all, they had an elder leading them. So. As they flew over, they heard the sound of arrows piercing through the air, following which they saw the abyssal species being killed one by one, unable to resist at all. In front of them, there was even a bramble monster charging towards 2 9th order Immortal King Realm abyssal species. Oh, this Dragon Palace is really strong. They live up to their name. What powerful archers! Dragon Palace actually nurtured so many Undying God King level archers. They looked ahead, and their faces were filled with astonishment. At the front, Elder Tianya's eyes flashed. Dragon Palace, we're here to help you. His figure flashed, locking onto an 8th order Immortal King Realm abyssal species as he charged over. Let's go, let's attack too. Behind them, The rest of the experts from the Sky Edge sect also moved and quickly hunted down the Abyss species. Their eyes were filled with excitement. As long as they killed a few of them, the rewards would be much better than if they were in the middle. Oh! At this moment, Wang Xian, who was on Dragon Peak, was slightly taken aback as he looked at the group of experts charging towards the abyssal species. When his gaze landed on the elder at the front, he squinted his eyes. Dragon King, that's the experts from Sky Edge. They want to snatch our abyssal species. Tianjun furrowed his brows and said, although they said they were here to support them, their actions were obviously to snatch the abyssal species and obtain their crystals. 8th Order Abyssal Species crystals were indeed worthy of a 9th Order God King Realm expert's attention. However, Wang Xian didn't expect these people from Sky Edge to be so arrogant, completely disregarding Dragon Palace. Haha, don't worry, everyone from Dragon Palace. We'll help you deal with over 100 Undying God King Realm abyssal species, sharing some of the burden. You guys go hunt the other abyssal species. At this time, the deacon behind the Elder of the World's Edge sect said with a laugh. Chapter 2677. Beasts die. One person should be enough to take care of two. In the abyss east of the island, 50 to 60 people from Sky Edge stared at the abyss creatures before them. They charged into the abyss and attacked the rank 6 and 7 Undying God King abyssal creatures. Rumble. The leading elder of the Sky Edge sect swung his sky-reaching ruler towards an Undying God King level 8 abyss seed. A powerful wind attribute law energy instantly penetrated the body of the rank 8 abyssal creature. Wang. He waved his arm and took out the crystal, his lips curling into a smile. Die, die, die. Behind him, Sky Edge, so near at hand's claw tore through the void and killed another rank 7 Undying God King abyssal creature. Every Sky Edge sect disciple attacked the abyssal creatures that were weaker than them. Dragon King. Tianjin looked to the right and frowned. Kiki. Wang Xian looked at them killing the abyssal creatures without hesitation and his face turned cold. Roving demon, send someone over and capture that elder and deacon. Don't let them call for help. Kill the rest. He looked to the side and said with a murderous tone, Yes, Dragon King. Roving demon's voice traveled over. In the next instant, a few spots within the Dragon Peak shook and a large number of mysterious demons followed behind him. Wang Xian looked over with a cold gleam flickering in his eyes. If it was someone from Nine Heaven's great sect, he might hesitate. But if it was Sky Edge, coincidentally, he had some things to verify. Die. Within the abyss, Sky Edge Elder swung his sky-reaching ruler again, and another rank 8 Undying God King abyssal creature died in his hands. He waved his arm and took out the abyssal crystal with a smile on his face. That Dragon Palace didn't react at all? Holding the abyssal crystal in his hand, the Sky Edge Elder's body trembled. According to his plan, killing 2 rank 8 Undying God King abyssal creatures was enough. Any more, and they might offend the Dragon Palace. But now, they had started killing abyssal creatures, and the Dragon Palace didn't react at all. This made his heart skip a beat. Can I kill another one? He held the sky-reaching ruler in his hand, waved his arm, and attacked the abyss species in front of him again. If the Dragon Palace were to blame them, they would just return one of the abyss seeds in their hands. The people from Dragon Palace didn't say anything. What are they doing? He should be afraid of the strength of our Sky Edge sect. Haha, the Elder is continuing to hunt. Let's kill another one. I was right to come this time. In the rear, when the people from the Sky Edge sect saw that their Elder continued to hunt after killing 2, and when they saw that the Dragon Palace did not have any reaction, their faces lit up and they whispered excitedly. Without the slightest hesitation, they continued to hunt the abyss monsters. Buzz, buzz, buzz. However, at this moment, black and white figures appeared behind them and to their left and right. The strange black and white figure exuded a cold killing intent. The figure that suddenly appeared on their left and right made all of them slightly stunned. The people from the World Edge sect were slightly shocked, and their pupils constricted, greedy and courting death. You can't live. At this moment, they heard a voice coming from the Dragon Peak. The 50 to 60 people from the World Edge sect were shocked. What does the Dragon Palace want to do? Are they experts from the Dragon Palace? Their hearts sank, but before they could react, a series of terrifying attacks were coming at them. Oh no! The 50 to 60 experts from the World Edge sect were shocked. Poof! Poof! However, at this moment, the sharp claws had already entered their bodies. Dragon Palace, you! Poof! Cough, cough, cough. At the forefront, the elder from the World Edge sect instantly sensed the changes in the surroundings. Sensing that the Dragon Palace had sent people to kill them, his face changed drastically and he let out a roar of shock and anger. However, before they could roar, a sickle-like claw directly cut their throats, making them unable to make a sound. Poof! This made him horrified, and his body trembled. However, before he could react, another sharp claw penetrated his body. Furthermore, he sensed with extreme fear that the figure that had suddenly appeared behind him was taking him towards the Dragon Peak. What are the Dragon Palace doing? How dare they? Are they trying to be enemies with the World Edge sect? Also, what kind of terrifying existence is this? How could it subdue me in an instant? Many thoughts appeared in his mind, and his face turned extremely pale. Cough, cough, cough. At this time, he saw that the warden from the World Edge sect was also captured, and he kept vomiting blood. Dragon King. Roving Demon brought the two people to the command platform and shouted at Wang Xian. Swish, swish. Tianzhan, who was at the side, looked at the two of them. With a wave of his arm, two thorns extended from the Dragon Peak and entangled them. Roving Demon and the rest immediately let go. Gulp. Dragon King, what are you doing? Let me tell you. I'm the elder of the World Edge sect. If you dare to kill me, the World Edge will annihilate the Dragon Palace. Roving Demon had just let go of the elder of the World Edge sect, and he bellowed with a drastic change of expression. Bam! Wang Xian stepped on his head gently and stared at him coldly. Who gave you the courage to hunt the abyss species in the territory of the Dragon Palace? He stared at the elder of the World Edge sect and spoke with disdain. I. If you don't allow us to hunt you, you can tell us. How dare you injure me now? Dragon King, do you know that you are courting death? The elder of the World Edge sect bellowed. Let us go. Let us go. If you dare to kill us, the World Edge will not let you off. Let us go now. The deacon from the World's Edge sect clenched his fists and roared. Don't be so arrogant when you are about to die. Wang Xian looked at the deacon with indifference in his eyes. How dare you? Dragon King, if you dare to kill us, Wang. Arg. When the elder of the World Edge sect heard Wang Xian, he immediately bellowed furiously. However, before he could finish his sentence, he heard the shriek of the warden beside him. He immediately turned around and saw the warden sprawled on the ground with lifeless eyes and his body shivering. You! What did you do to him? What did you do to him? At this moment, the elder of the World Edge sect bellowed in horror. Phew! Wang Xian closed his eyes slightly and absorbed the memories that he had obtained from the soul search. Chapter 2678. A few years ago, the Emperor Star Princess had told him that Qingyue and Lingxiu were being hunted by the Sky Edge. Wang Xian wanted to verify why the Sky Edge sect was hunting Qingyue and the rest. Where were Blue Moon and the others? Dragon King, I advise you not to start a war between the Sky Edge and the Dragon Palace over a small matter. We have two peak Divine King experts. If you dare to kill all of us, our Laozu will never let you off. In front of the command podium of the Dragon Palace, the elder of the Sky Edge sect was trying to break free from his restraints as he shouted at Wang Xian. You guys have been hunting Qingyue and the rest. At this moment, Wang Xian opened his eyes and stared at the elder of the Sky Edge sect with murderous intent. What? Sensing the murderous aura from Wang Xian and hearing his words, the elder of the Sky Edge sect trembled and shouted in shock. Nothing. You will die too. Your Sky Edge sect will perish in the future. Wang Xian looked at him and said emotionlessly. He lifted his arm slowly. No, no, no. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I was wrong. We shouldn't have come. Wang? The elder of the Sky Edge sect screamed with all his might, trying to survive. However, when the soul-sucking power fell on him, his eyes became dull. Information entered Wang Xian's mind again. Huh. A few minutes later, he opened his eyes slowly and revealed a doubtful look. According to the elder of the Sky Edge sect, they were indeed hunting Qingyue and the rest. However, the order to kill them was given by their Laozu. Why would their Laozu want to kill Qingyue and the rest? Because of Shaolong? Wang Xian frowned and revealed a doubtful look. But no matter what, the Sky Edge sect, he murmured with murderous intent in his eyes. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the corpses of the elder of the Sky Edge sect. According to the memories of the elder of the Sky Edge sect, the Sky Edge sect had 2 peak Immortal King experts and the Supreme Treasure, the Sky Edge ruler. Under the control of the sect leader and the 2 elders, the Sky Edge ruler could unleash the strength of a peak Immortal King. It could be said that Tianya had 3 Undying God King peak experts. There were 15 level 9 God Kings from the Horizon realm. Excluding the sect leader and the 2 elders, there were 12 of them. This power was very powerful, and it was not something that the great sects of the Moon could compare to. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, it is still somewhat difficult to destroy the Sky Edge sect. However, in terms of overall strength, the Dragon Palace is still slightly stronger. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. Standing on the command platform, he scanned the surroundings. The elders of the Moon sect and the rest were killed by Wang Xian. At the Abyss, more than half of the Abyss species were killed. The 2 level 9 Undying God King realm Abyss beasts were entangled by a thorny monster and would soon be killed. If nothing went wrong, all the Abyss species here would be hunted down in a few minutes. While the Dragon Palace was killing rapidly, the situation in other places was similar. Especially in the central region, other than the 2 Undying God King peak abyssal species that gave them some pressure, the rest of the abyssal species were not enough to deal with. In less than 10 minutes, all the abyssal species were killed. Dragon King, it's all done. In less than 10 minutes, all the abyssal species in the Dragon Palace were killed. 7 to 8 million abyssal species. Although Wang Xian was not satisfied with the number, it was still not bad. Including the corpse of the elders of the Sky Edge sect, there were 3 level 9 Undying God King corpses and 13 level 8 Undying God King corpses. This was a significant improvement to the Dragon Palace. Return to the side and wait for news. Wang Xian stood on the Dragon Peak and said to the Sky Array. The Dragon Peak moved back to the edge of the abyss. Ha ha ha, die for me. Ao ao ao. 10 minutes after Wang Xian and the rest left the abyss, an excited roar came from the central region. Along with it, there were cries of pain from the abyssal species. A pinnacle God King realm abyss beast was killed? Wang Xian looked over and murmured to himself, ha ha ha, our Laozu killed that pinnacle God King realm abyss beast. Our Laozu is invincible. Oomph! Such an abyssal species dares to invade our demon island. They must be courting death. Ha ha! Our Laozu killed the pinnacle God King realm abyss beast. All the abyssal species on our side have been eliminated. Not fun. Not fun at all. I haven't even fought to my heart's content, and it's already over. These abyssal species are so weak. I only got 1 abyssal species crystal. Sigh, what a loss. The 2 of us only got 1. Moreover, it's 1 level lower than us. This is too little. At the same time, at the central region where the Sky Edge sect was, a group of experts and disciples saw the pinnacle God King realm abyss beast killed by their Laozu and the rest. Some were cheering for the strength of their Laozu and the rest, while some were discussing speechlessly. Many were dissatisfied with their harvest this time. There were too many wolves and too little meat. All experts and disciples, retreat from the abyss and return. On the Horizon ruler, the old ancestor and sect leader of the Sky Edge sect smiled as they looked at the pinnacle God King realm abyss beast crystal in front of them. Yes, old ancestor. Yes, sect leader. One by one, the experts and disciples flew out. When the Horizon ruler flew out, the group of disciples flew in as well. Sect leader, old ancestor, this battle is really boring. We haven't even fought to our heart's content and our harvest is pitiful. One by one, the experts also flew towards the world's edge ruler. Some elders and deacons surrounded the patriarchs with smiles on their faces and said with some dissatisfaction, "Hee, there should be a few more battles in the near future. There's no rush." An old ancestor said in a good mood, "Did we suffer any losses in this battle?" Sect leader of the Sky Edge asked the few elders, "How could there be any losses? There were only some unlucky disciples who were severely injured. There shouldn't be any deaths." An elder at the side said with a smile, "Oh right. Where's old Yao? Why didn't I see him in this battle?" However, at this moment, an elder of the Sky Edge sect looked around and asked. There were a total of more than 10 elders in the Sky Edge sect. Everyone was familiar with each of them. If one of them wasn't around, they would be discovered very quickly. "Yes, I haven't seen Elder Yao. Where did he go?" An old lady at the side also looked around in surprise. Sect leader, Elder, it seems like it's not only Elder Yao. Attendant Song and the rest who followed Elder Yao have also disappeared. At the back, an attendant looked around and said, Look for old Yao." The sect leader of the Sky Edge sect frowned slightly and ordered. Chapter 2679. Did anyone see Elder Yao and Deacon Song? Did anyone see Elder Yao and Deacon Song? When Sky Horizon sect leader ordered the elders and deacons to search, the group moved immediately. They scanned the abyss, and after finding nothing, they asked the other experts and disciples. Elder Yao and Deacon Song? Didn't see them. Some of the experts and disciples shook their heads. But soon, when the dozen experts and disciples saw that the elders were looking for Elder Yao and the others, they raised their eyebrows. "Elder." An undying God King expert flashed and flew towards the elders. You saw Elder Yao and them?" The few elders looked at the undying God King and asked. "Yes, Elder. When we were hunting the abyss creatures, I saw Elder Yao and Deacon Song flying towards the left side of space. I don't know where exactly they were going." The undying God King said, "Flying towards the left?" The elders looked at each other and frowned slightly. "Elder, when we were hunting the abyss creatures, we saw Elder Yao and them." "Elder, I saw them too." At this time, the disciples who received the news rushed over and reported to the elders. "You all saw Elder Yao and them heading towards the left side?" The elders looked at them and asked. "Yes, Elder." The group nodded. "Elder, not only Elder Yao and Deacon Song, there were 50 to 60 experts following him. I have no news of a senior brother as well. At the last moment, I heard that senior brother said that they followed Deacon Song and Elder Yao to the other side to hunt the abyss creatures." At this time, one of the undying God Kings said, "To the left side to kill the abyss creatures?" The elders frowned slightly and immediately flew to the side. Ancestor, sect leader, some disciples saw Elder Yao and Deacon Song leading 50 to 60 people to the left side to hunt the abyss creatures. A few elders arrived and immediately said, Left side? The left side is the hunting area of Moon and Dragon Palace, right?" One of the great ancestors raised his eyebrows and said. The elders nodded in agreement. "Let's go to the left and take a look. Don't let them get into a conflict." The World Edge sect master immediately said, "Yes." The elders nodded in agreement. "There is no need to enter the dark abyss. Long Feng has already come out. Go ask him." The two patriarchs looked to the left. With their eyesight, they could see the huge dragon peak. The elders nodded and immediately flew to the left. The four of them were all Ninth Order Immortal God King realm experts, and they arrived in front of Dragon Peak in no time. There's no sign of old Yao and the others. The four of them looked at the Dragon Peak in front of them and then at the empty abyss. They frowned slightly. "Go and ask the people from the Dragon Palace." One of the Tianya elders looked at Dragon Peak and directly flew over. The other three World's Edge elders also followed behind. Everyone from Dragon Palace. When the four elders from the Sky Edge sect arrived, Wang Xian and the rest had already noticed them. The four of them hovered about 2,000 meters in front of the command platform as they shouted at Wang Xian and the rest. "The four of you from the World's Edge sect, what's the matter?" Wang Xian looked at the four of them and asked plainly. "Dragon King, I wonder if your Dragon Palace has seen Elder Yao and the rest from the Sky Edge sect?" One of the Sky Edge sect's elders sized up Wang Xian and the surroundings before asking directly. The elders from your Sky Edge sect are here? Wang Xian looked at them and raised an eyebrow. Yes, they are here. The Sky Edge sect's elder nodded his head and answered clearly. When we were hunting for the abyss species, Elder Yao told us to come here. Didn't you guys see him? One of the Sky Edge sect's elders squinted his eyes and asked intentionally, Why did the elders from your Sky Edge sect come here when we were hunting for the abyss species? Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he asked them. Of course there's something. Dragon King, just tell us if you have seen the elders from our Sky Edge sect. One of the Sky Edge sect's elders said. Wang Xian shook his head. The four of them exchanged looks and looked around with doubts. Why not? Many disciples said to head to the left side of the abyss. There's only the Dragon Palace here. One of the elders transmitted his voice to the other three. That shouldn't be the case. Old Yao must have brought people here to hunt for the abyss species after seeing that we have too few of them. Could it be that they are heading towards the Moon sect? After all, the Dragon Palace is much stronger than the previous month. Another elder guessed. Let's go and take a look at the Moon sect. One of the elders made up his mind immediately. The other three nodded their heads. Sorry for disturbing, one of them said to Wang Xian before continuing to fly to the left. Tianjun, do you think they will know that we are the culprit? Wang Xian squinted his eyes and asked. It's highly possible that we are the culprit. Tianjun pondered at the side. After all, 9th level Immortal King realm experts couldn't just disappear like that. There were very few forces that could do that. Given our strength, what will happen if we clash with the Sky Edge sect? Wang Xian's eyes flickered. It might be difficult to eliminate them, but they aren't a match for us. Tianjun said confidently. I think so too. In that case, Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the four figures leaving. Do you guys think that the Dragon Palace can eliminate Old Devil in an instant? At the same time, one of the four elders who was flying to the left asked with a frown, I heard that the Dragon Palace is very strong, but they don't dare to kill Old Devil and the rest. An elder beside him replied. The rest nodded their heads as well. The Dragon Palace wouldn't dare to offend the Sky Edge sect. We have killed all the abyss species here last month. Let's go and ask a few of them. The four of them looked ahead and saw experts flying out of the abyss one after another. They looked around and didn't see Old Devil and the rest. Haha, we are lucky this time to get 5 abyss species. My strength can increase a little now. I'm really envious of you. At the edge of the battlefield, 5 to 6 Immortal King realm experts were chatting and laughing as they flew out of the abyss. Guys, have you seen an elder and over 60 Immortal King realm experts from our Sky Edge sect? Suddenly, a voice rang in their ears. The 6 of them were taken aback as they saw 4 old men appearing in front of them. You are elders from the Sky Edge sect. The 6 of them couldn't help but exclaim when they saw the 4 elders from the Sky Edge sect. Chapter 2680. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Lords, what can I do for you? The 6 of them looked at the 4 elders from the Sky Edge sect and asked nervously. The elders from the Sky Edge sect were experts on the same level as their old ancestor. Have you seen an elder and over 60 God Kings from our World's Edge sect? The old man in the middle frowned and asked again. An elder from the Sky Edge sect? No, we didn't see any elder from the Sky Edge sect. The 6 experts of the Moon sect immediately shook their heads. Didn't our Sky Edge sect send any experts over? The 4 elders from the Sky Edge sect frowned and confirmed again. Lords, we can confirm that there are no elders from the Sky Edge sect here. However, if the experts from the World Edge sect are deliberately concealing themselves, then we won't know. The 6 of them shook their heads again and said, There aren't any? The 4 elders from the Sky Edge sect looked at each other. They could sense that the 6 of them were speaking the truth. As for Elder Yao and the others hiding, it was obviously impossible. What do you think about the strength of the Dragon Palace? Can they kill a 9th Order Immortal King realm expert in an instant? One of the elders from the Sky Edge sect suddenly asked. The 6 of them were slightly taken aback when they heard that. Speak. Seeing their hesitation, the elder furrowed his brows and shouted softly. A terrifying pressure enveloped them, causing them to be in a daze. It should be possible. Lord Dragon King and the rest should be able to do it. The Dragon Palace has powerful assassins. I think they should be able to do it. The 6 of them couldn't help but say under the pressure. All right, the 4 elders from the Sky Edge sect said indifferently. They looked around and returned to where they came from. Huff, huff, huff. After freeing himself from the pressure of the 4 elders of the Sky Edge sect, the Moon Master panted heavily, and a frightened expression appeared on his face. What's going on? I don't know. Let's go and report this to the old ancestor and the rest. The 6 of them immediately flew towards the direction of the old ancestor and the rest. I can't get in touch with the old demon. He didn't go to the Moon sect, so he must be at the Dragon Palace. One of them must be lying. In front of the abyss, an elder from the edge of the world said, "Does the Dragon Palace dare to offend Artinia?" An elder at the side frowned slightly and asked again, "Would they dare?" Even if the Dragon Palace was strong in their eyes, there was still a huge gap between them and Tianya. If the Dragon Palace really dared to kill the elders of Tianya, it would be no different from courting death. The 6 from the Crescent Moon Great Sect can't be lying. Furthermore, the Dragon Palace has the strength to kill 9th Order Immortal God King realm experts. Let's go test them out, one of the elders said. The other 3 nodded in agreement. Soon, they arrived in front of the Dragon Peak again. Without any hesitation, the 4 of them flew directly to the command platform. Everyone, why are you here again? When Wang Xian saw the 4 of them flying over again, he lifted his head slightly. Dragon King, do you know the consequences if you dare to kill the elders of our Sky Edge sect? This time, the 4 of them were about 100 kilometers away from the Dragon Peak. They stared at Wang Xian from afar and probed him coldly. Oh, what do you mean? Wang Xian smiled faintly and looked at the heavenly array beside him. Our elder brought a group of experts to your side, but there's no news of him. I'm afraid only you guys can make a 9th Order Immortal God King disappear without any news, right? Another elder from the Sky Edge sect said coldly. I have a question. During the battle just now, why did the elder of your Sky Edge sect come to our hunting territory? Wang Xian did not answer their question. Instead, he narrowed his eyes and asked, Dragon King, we're asking you now, where is our elder of Tianya sect? Or, he's already been killed by you? The 4 elders of the Sky Edge sect stared at Wang Xian with a stern look. From the attitude of the Dragon King towards the 4 of them, they could feel that the Dragon King didn't really put them in his eyes. This made them even more certain of their guesses. Perhaps, Elder Yao had really been killed by the Dragon Palace. The 4 of them were filled with killing intent. At the same time, they looked around cautiously. This was also the reason why they were facing each other from a distance of 100 kilometers instead of 2,000 meters like the previous time. It's you guys from the Sky Edge sect who are courting death, Wang Xian said slowly. What? It's really done by the Dragon Palace. Courting death. Dragon Palace. You guys are courting death. When the 4 of them heard Wang Xian's words, their faces changed. In the next moment, a terrifying aura burst out from their bodies. Wang. But at this moment, the entire area suddenly underwent a horrifying change. Black holes appeared out of nowhere in the surrounding void. The area of this strange space wasn't very big, just enough to envelop the 4 of them. The black holes came from the array formation that Heavenly Array had personally set up. What? Dragon King, what are you trying to do? When the 4 elders of the Sky Edge sect saw the sudden appearance of the strange space, a bad premonition shrouded their hearts. Boom, boom, boom. At this time, 2 monsters condensed from thorns appeared on the left and right of the Dragon Peak, completely locking the 3 of them. What are we doing? Of course, we're going to annihilate you guys. You guys from the Sky Edge sect are really arrogant to come to the territory of the Dragon Palace to hunt the Abyss species. You're not putting us in your eyes at all. Wang Xian replied coldly. For some Abyss species crystals, the Dragon Palace dares to go against the Sky Edge sect? The 4 elders of the Sky Edge sect stood together and asked. At the same time, they sensed the surroundings and prepared to break through this strange space. Of course, it's not just this. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for chasing Qingyue and Ling Xiu a few years ago. Kill them. As Wang Xian spoke, a violent murderous intent surged from his body as he roared immediately. Boom, boom. Two monsters condensed from thorns instantly appeared in front of them. Dragon King, you guys are courting death. The four elders of the Sky Edge sect roared. Facing the attack from the Dragon Palace, they didn't have much fear in their hearts. Instead, they were more angry. A small Dragon Palace dared to kill the experts from the Sky Edge sect. They were seeking death. Hold on. As long as we hold on for a few minutes, the Laozu and the rest will come and annihilate everyone from the Dragon Palace. No one will be left alive. One of the elders of the Sky Edge sect roared with a violent look. Boom. As they moved, layers of thick and heavy nomological defense instantly appeared in front of them. Swish, swish, swish. Ka, ka, ka. But in the next moment, when thorns fell on their defense, the four of them were completely dumbfounded. Chapter 2681. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Ka, ka, ka. In the strange black hole, the sound of laws breaking through the defense could be heard. The four elders of Sky Edge stared blankly ahead. When the thorny vines swept over, the defense in front of them was directly shattered. Seeing this scene, the four of them were completely dumbfounded. They were elders of Sky Edge, possessing 9th Order Immortal King realm combat strength. In some of the weaker sects, they would be considered as peak experts. Although they were wary of the Dragon Palace, they did not pay too much attention to them. The Dragon Palace could instantly kill 9th Order Immortal King realm experts, but if the four of them joined forces, it would take at least 10 of them to kill them. This would require a long battle, but in their opinion, they could at least hold on for 20 to 30 minutes. This was an hour-long battle, yet they were defeated in an instant. The defense in front of them could be said to have been executed with all their might. Yet, it was broken so easily. How can the attacks of these thorns monsters be so terrifying? Elder Tianya and the others cried out in fear. Their pupils constricted as they looked at the two monsters formed from thorns in front of them. Their faces were filled with shock. Swish, swish. Swish, swish. In the next moment, the two thorny monsters instantly shot out thorns that pierced towards them. At such a close distance, the sharp thorns were like venomous snakes, piercing through their chests in an instant. A scream came from one of the elders of Sky Edge. His eyes widened as he stared at his chest in disbelief. His face was filled with fear. They are peak Immortal King realm monsters. Peak Immortal King realm monsters. The Dragon Palace has peak Immortal King realm experts. Panicked voices came from the mouths of the Tinya elders. They roared, their bodies trembling nonstop. The Dragon Palace also had peak Immortal King realm experts. Then, if the enemies really wanted to kill the four of them, they would not be able to resist. No, Dragon Palace. How can you have peak Immortal King realm experts, you? One of the elders roared in anger. Swish, swish, swish. At this time, the thorns that pierced through their chests moved and pierced through their bodies again, entangling them together. The four of them could not resist at all and were subdued in an instant. For thorns shot out from the four thorns, aiming at their heads. No, don't kill us. At this time, the four elders of the World's Edge sect shouted in panic. When death approached, most people would feel fear. This was especially true for experts like them who held high positions. They were reluctant to part with this resplendent world. That bastard old demon, how did he provoke the Dragon Palace? He actually made the Dragon Palace become enemies with our World's Edge. While the four of them were terrified, they were also incomparably furious at Elder Yao. However, they didn't know that they didn't take the Dragon Palace seriously in the beginning. Don't kill it yet. Injure it heavily. Wang Xian remarked plainly on the command podium. That's right. Dragon King, don't kill us. Don't kill us. We, Tianya, are willing to take out treasures to redeem our lives. When the four of them heard Wang Xian's words, they saw a glimmer of hope and shouted immediately. Pu. As soon as they finished speaking, thorny vines fell on their heads. With their life force, it was naturally impossible to kill them. Buzz. Wang Xian flew over, waved his arm, and immediately performed the soul assimilation. Sky Array. Remove the black hole spatial disruption array and set up the illusion array. Wang Xian said immediately. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a surge of dragon might rush towards the mind of one of the elders of the World's Edge sect. Summon the eternal celestial nation. Wang Xian's voice sounded in his mind. Yes, yes, yes. That elder of the World's Edge said in a daze. An eternal celestial nation gradually appeared beside him. Wang Xian's body shook, and the dragon palace appeared behind him, sucking the eternal celestial nation into it. Bam! Wang Xian slapped his arm on the elder's head, killing him instantly. You! What are you trying to do? What kind of demonic art is this? Wang Xian's actions caused the other three elders of the World's Edge to be in despair as they shouted loudly. However, Wang Xian didn't pay any attention to them. Using the same method, he summoned all their eternal celestial nations back. These eternal celestial nations were a huge resource to Aosia and the rest. With these 4 eternal celestial nations and some other resources, Aosia and the other devouring dragon would be able to raise their battle prowess to the 9th level Undying God King realm. If it wasn't for the fact that one couldn't summon eternal celestial nations in the abyss, Wang Xian would have used this method to summon the eternal celestial nations. The rewards this time are pretty good. Wang Xian's eyes lit up after killing 4 elders of the World's Edge sect. 4 elders could increase the battle prowess of 6 9th level Undying God King realm experts in the Dragon Palace. In addition to the other elder, there would be a total of 7. In addition to the 2 abyssal seeds, the Dragon Palace would have an additional 9 9th level Undying God King realm experts. I wonder how the World's Edge will react after killing 5 elders of the World's Edge. The corner of Wang Xian's lips curved into a smile. Dragon King, are we going to fight now? Tianjun asked Wang Xian. Get all the disciples to prepare. Even if we don't fight, the World's Edge will. Wang Xian smiled and said faintly. Tianjun nodded his head and got ready. Kaka. My protective talisman is broken. My protective talisman is broken. At the same time, a mysterious pendant on the chest of a middle-aged man who was chatting with his senior and junior brothers suddenly cracked. The middle-aged man was stunned. His eyes widened as he screamed in shock. Huh, senior brother-in-law? What's wrong? When the middle-aged men in front of him saw the sudden change in his expression and his face filled with fear, their expressions changed slightly and they quickly asked, The protective talisman is broken. The protective talisman my grandfather gave me broke on its own. The middle-aged man's face was filled with fear as he grabbed the protective talisman with his eyes wide open. This was given to me by my grandfather to protect me. My grandfather's God country can sense it when I'm in danger. The God country will send a surge of energy to protect me. Grandfather said that if he dies, this protective talisman will break. The middle-aged man screamed. The few middle-aged men beside him were stunned as well. They exchanged glances and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Their faces were filled with fear. They knew that Senior Brotherland's grandfather was an elder of the World's Edge, a 9th level Undying God King realm expert. Senior Brother Lon, report this to the sect leader and old ancestor immediately. One of them hurriedly said to him, Sect leader, old ancestor. The middle-aged man gradually regained his senses as he dashed towards the World's Edge ruler and shouted. Chapter 2682. The middle-aged man ran over in panic. Old Ancestor Sky Edge and the sect leader looked at the middle-aged man and frowned slightly. Kidlon, what's the matter? An elder at the side recognized the middle-aged man and asked him, Elder Mu, sect leader, Patriarch, my grandfather might have fallen. He might have fallen. This is the amulet my grandfather gave me. He said that as long as he is not dead, it will not break. Now, the amulet is broken. The middle-aged man said to the sect master of the World's Edge and the rest in panic. As he held the pendant in his hand, his expression kept changing. The expression of the old man called Elder Mu changed. He immediately appeared beside the middle-aged man and reached out to take the pendant in his hand. It is indeed a life-saving weapon made by Elder Lon for his descendants, but it no longer has Elder Mu's aura on it. Elder Mu's expression changed as he spoke to the sect leader and the others. What? Elder Lawn had fallen. But weren't they still here a moment ago? How could they have fallen? Didn't they? As one of the elders spoke, his expression suddenly changed. Did something bad happen to them? The sect leader and the patriarch's expressions also changed slightly. An elder immediately took out his brain and sent a series of messages, but after a few seconds, there was no reply. There was no reply from the four elders. Patriarch. Around them, several elders and the sect leader stared at the two ancestral patriarchs solemnly. Elder Siming had been searching for Elder Yao and had yet to return. Now, it was suspected that he had fallen. To be able to make them fall so quickly without them sensing it, the other party's strength was definitely not simple. Damn it, given the strength of Elder Lawn and the others, even if they were to encounter danger, they would still be able to create a huge commotion. How could they die just like that? All disciples, get ready. Everyone, immediately head to the left to investigate. Once you find the culprit, cut him into pieces. The faces of the two old ancestors were filled with intense killing intent as they roared furiously. Horizon Ruler. The World Horizon Sect Master waved his arm, and a wave of energy fused with the World Horizon Ruler. All disciples, prepare for battle. Then, the World's Edge Sect Master let out a fierce bellow, and his voice rang out in everyone's mind. What happened? What's going on? Weren't all the abyssal species in the abyss slaughtered? On the World's Edge Ruler, some disciples who didn't know what was going on were shocked. So. The World's Edge Ruler flew to the left at a terrifying speed. Old Ancestor, if Elderlawn and the others are really dead, the only force that can do it is the Dragon Palace. An elder stood in front of the World's Edge Ruler with a gloomy expression as he spoke to the two patriarchs. Dragon Palace. The two ancestral patriarchs squinted their eyes with a murderous look in their eyes. The disappearance of a total of 5 elders was a huge loss to World's Edge. In the entire Heaven's Edge, there were only 15 Ninth Order Immortal God King Realm experts. No matter which faction it was, as long as they dared to kill the 5 of them, this enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. What happened to the World Edge sect? Why is there such a strong killing intent? What's going on with the World Edge sect? Why are they rushing to the left? Tell all disciples to prepare for battle? What's going on? At this moment, the experts and disciples of the Nine Heavens Great Sect were slightly shocked when they heard the murderous voices and saw the World Edge sect rushing to the left. The World's Edge and the Nine Heavens Great Sect were fighting the Abyss species together. Both sides could clearly see each other's situation. The huge change in the World's Edge immediately attracted the attention of the Nine Heavens Great Sect. Why are they flying to the left? Let's go and take a look. The two Nine Heavens old ancestors raised their eyebrows and said with glistening eyes. They had killed all the Abyss species on their side, and nothing had happened. The Nine Heavens Great Sect had to pay attention to the unusual movements of the World Edge sect. So, following which, the experts and disciples of the Nine Heavens Great Sect flew to the left. The Heaven-Shattering Sect and the others on the right had also dealt with the Abyss creatures in the Abyss. As the host, some of their disciples were aware of the situation of the two sects in the center. Without hesitation, they immediately sent a group of experts to investigate. All disciples, surround the Dragon Peak. The World's Edge Ruler was fast and the distance between them wasn't far. Looking at the majestic Dragon Peak, Old Ancestor Sky's Edge ordered coldly. Yes, the rest of the experts and disciples were taken aback. Surround it. However, the 7 elders immediately took the lead and gave out orders to everyone. Follow the elders. In the next moment, the experts from World's Edge stopped them and followed the elders to surround the Dragon Palace. Buzz buzz. Old Ancestor Sky's Edge flew out of the World's Edge Ruler without any hesitation. The two of them floated in the sky far away. Dragon Palace. An angry roar came from Old Ancestor as he stared coldly at the huge Dragon Peak. So. In the surroundings, the elders from World's Edge led tens of millions of disciples and surrounded the Dragon Palace with murderous looks. Hee. On the command platform, Wang Xian naturally knew that the people from World's Edge sect were charging over. As expected, even if the Dragon Palace didn't attack, the other party would attack. Everyone from World's Edge sect. May I know why you're here? Wang Xian squinted his eyes and asked despite knowing the answer. Starting a war during the invasion of the Abyss had to be justified. Otherwise, it would incur the wrath of the public and affect the Dragon Palace's subsequent actions. Did you kill the Demon Elder, Elderlawn, and the other 4 from World's Edge sect? Old Ancestor Sky's Edge fixed his eyes on Wang Xian and questioned him coldly. Her? What's going on? World's Edge sect is here to besiege the Dragon Palace? This Dragon Palace killed the elders from World's Edge sect? SSS, what's going on? Why is there a conflict between World's Edge sect and the Dragon Palace? The experts and disciples from Nine Firmaments sect were slightly shocked when they saw the scene and heard the voice of Old Ancestor Sky's Edge. Why are these two forces fighting all of a sudden? Behind them, the experts of the Heaven-Shattering sect had arrived too. Their faces were filled with astonishment upon seeing this. Her? What's going on? On the left, Sect Leader Moon and the rest, who had received the report from the 6 experts, also rushed over and happened to see this scene. Their expressions changed, becoming somewhat solemn and embarrassed. Dragon King, I'm asking you a question. Did you kill the 5 elders and 60 experts from World's Edge sect? Old Ancestor Sky's Edge stared at Wang Xian and questioned him coldly again. His tone was cold. Everyone from World's Edge sect, let's talk nicely. There must be some misunderstanding. Sect Leader Moon swallowed a mouthful of saliva and hesitated before speaking. Chapter 2683. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Moon Sect was on good terms with Dragon Palace. They naturally did not wish to see a conflict between Dragon Palace and Sky Edge Sect. This would put the great sects of the Moon Sect in a difficult position. After all, Dragon Palace had helped them before. However, Sky Edge Sect's strength was not something that Dragon Palace could go against. Even if Moon Sect were to lend a hand, they would not be a match for Sky Edge Sect. Shut up. 5 of our elders were killed. This is an irreconcilable grudge. Among all the superpowers, only Dragon Palace has the strength to kill them. Sky Edge Old Ancestor reprimanded coldly when he heard Moon Sect leader's words. This caused the Moon Sect leader's expression to change, and an ugly expression appeared on his face. At the same time, his heart trembled. 5 elders were killed. They were existences on the same level as him. Moon Sect only had 4 Ninth Order Immortal King Realm experts. What? 5 elders of Sky Edge were killed? SSS, that's 5 Ninth Order Immortal King Realm experts. How is this possible? Dragon Palace killed them? Are they courting death? How dare they kill the elders of Sky Edge Sect? 9 Heavens Great Sect, Heaven-Shattering Great Sect, and the other superpowers that were rushing over were shocked when they heard Sky Edge Old Ancestor's words. The death of 5 elders of Sky Edge Sect was a huge matter. Dragon Palace is not the only one who could kill 5 Ninth Order Immortal King Realm experts. They might have entered the abyss. An old ancestor from Moon Sect said with an ugly expression, Moon Sect, you have no right to speak here. Do you believe that if you speak another word, I will annihilate your entire Moon Sect? Another patriarch of the Sky Edge Sect roared with a cold expression. His words sent a chill down the spines of everyone from Moon Sect. Dragon King, speak. Give me a reason why you are not the culprit. Otherwise, Sky Edge Sect will annihilate all of you. Sky Edge Sect leader stared at Wang Xian and roared with killing intent. Dragon Palace was the biggest suspect. Even if they did not have sufficient evidence, they would still annihilate Dragon Palace if they could not prove that they were not the culprit. They would rather kill the wrong person than let them off. This was the might of their horizon. Around them, the experts and disciples of the other forces from the 4 sects on the Demon Island looked at Wang Xian in unison. They were shocked by Tianya's strength and were waiting for his reply. Sky Edge Sect, why did your elder come to our Dragon Palace for no reason? Wang Xian squinted his eyes and said plainly, in that case, our Sky Edge Sect's elders were killed by your Dragon Palace? As soon as Wang Xian finished his sentence, a Lao Zu from the Sky Edge Sect took out a mystical divine axe and roared with energy. Haha, when we were hunting the Abyss species, your Sky Edge Sect dared to break into our territory and kill the Abyss species. You even killed the disciples of our dragon palace. Do you think I would let go of the trash from your Sky Edge sect?" Seeing their murderous expressions, Wang Xian laughed out loud and said coldly, "Boom." As soon as he finished speaking, an incomparably violent murderous aura surged in the surroundings. It's really the Dragon Palace. They actually dared to kill the elders of our Sky Edge sect. The little Dragon Palace is courting death. Kill them. How dare they kill our elders? Annihilate the Dragon Palace. Revenge for killing our elders. Make them pay 10 times or even 100 times the price. How dare a little Dragon Palace kill our elders? Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the experts and disciples of the Sky Edge sect who surrounded the Dragon Palace were filled with violent expressions. One by one, they raised the weapons in their hands and roared with murderous intent. This Dragon Palace really killed the elders of the Sky Edge sect. Are they seeking their own deaths? Even if they're strong, the Dragon Palace isn't qualified to go against the Sky Edge sect. The Dragon Palace annihilated the elders of the Sky Edge sect just because they killed the disciples of the Dragon Palace. This is too ferocious. The large sects and forces in the surroundings were also shocked. They were clear about the strength of the Dragon Palace. What was the difference between offending the Sky Edge sect and courting death? When the sect leader of the Moon sect and the rest heard this, their expressions changed. They swallowed their saliva and stared blankly at Wang Xian. "Good, very good. Dragon King, since you dare to kill the elders of the Sky Edge sect, this day next year will be your Memorial Day." Violent murderous intent surged from the Sky Edge old ancestor. All the experts and disciples of the Sky Edge sect around him exuded a sharp aura. "Yes, very good. If the Sky Edge dares to kill the people of the Dragon Palace, I'll slaughter them." Wang Xian smiled faintly. The reason why the elders of the Sky Edge sect killed the people of the Dragon Palace was to justify their actions. This Dragon King is so arrogant and presumptuous. He's totally looking down on the Sky Edge sect. All the experts were shocked when they heard Wang Xian's words. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had never looked down on the Sky Edge sect. All the disciples of the Sky Edge sect, kill them all. I want to annihilate everyone from the Dragon Palace. Leave no one alive. Anyone who dares to help the Dragon Palace will be our mortal enemy. We won't rest until we're dead. The Sky Edge sect leader stood on the Sky Edge ruler and ordered loudly, "Kill." Tens of millions of disciples around him raised the weapons in their hands. Their murderous intent was overwhelming. "I'm going to destroy your Dragon Peak," the Sky Edge sect leader murmured. As he moved his arm, a gush of energy surged into the Sky Edge ruler. Behind him, 2 elders came to his left and right and similarly injected energy into the Sky Edge ruler. Wang. The entire Sky Edge ruler trembled slightly. It emitted a metallic radiance and a vast power of law that spread to the surroundings. The battle is about to break out. The Dragon Palace is courting death. How dare they start a battle at this time? This is the time when the Abyss is invading. To fight amongst themselves at this time. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the rest are really stupid. Some of the surrounding experts were shocked when they saw this scene. Some of them retreated to the back. No one was willing to see an internal conflict during the period when the Abyss was invading. Even the 2 Laozu from the 9 Clouds sect frowned. However, they couldn't say anything. The Dragon Palace had killed 5 elders of the Sky Edge sect. This was an irreconcilable feud. It was impossible for the Sky Edge sect to not take action. At the back, the Moon sect and the rest were extremely embarrassed. They glanced at the experts from the Sky Edge sect who were brimming with murderous intent. They gritted their teeth and were hesitant. "Kill." At this time, a cold roar reverberated across the area. Sky Edge ruler. Slay the gods and demons with a ruler. The voice of the Sky Edge sect leader continued. The Sky Edge ruler erupted with energy that was condensed from the law. The ruler instantly grew to a length of over 10,000 kilometers and charged towards the center of the Dragon Peak. Tens of millions of experts and disciples from the Sky Edge sect also launched their attacks. Hee. Disciples of the Dragon Palace, kill. Wang Xian saw the Sky Edge sect attacking him. He licked his lips and ordered with a stern face. Swish, swish, swish. As the order was given, Countless arrows flew out from the Dragon Peak and attacked the tens of millions of disciples from the Sky Edge sect. Walala. At the same time, 3 monsters formed by condensing thorns were formed in front of the Dragon Peak. Swish. One of the thorny monsters saw the Sky Edge ruler heading towards the Dragon Peak and swept it away. Chapter 2684. Trying to block the Horizon Ruler's attack? Dream on. The Horizon Ruler's full power isn't any weaker than an undying God King's attack. On the World Edge Ruler, the World Edge Sect Master had a cold look on his face when he saw a thorny monster sweeping towards the World Edge Ruler's attack. Oomph! In the sky, Old Ancestor Sky's Edge slowly raised the divine axe in his hand and also released a terrifying attack. Genesis Splitter. He let out a soft roar, and an earthy yellow energy tore apart the void within a radius of 4 to 500 million kilometers. This gray energy in the form of a divine axe directly slashed towards Long Feng. 2 Pinnacle Undying God King level powers shot out. Oh no, the Dragon Palace won't be able to withstand it. Seeing this scene, the experts and disciples of the great sects of the Moon, as well as the people of the Beichuan clan who rushed over from behind, were shocked. But against an Undying God King level attack, there was nothing they could do. Boom. However, the thorny monster's thorns had already landed on the World's Edge Ruler's energy. A terrifying collision sound rang out, and majestic energy surged in all directions. What? When the experts from the surrounding forces saw the collision, exclamations soon rang out. He blocked it? How is that possible? The World's Edge Sect Master stood on the World's Edge Ruler and stared ahead with a shocked expression on his face. The attack of the thorny monster had actually blocked the attack of the World's Edge Ruler. Boom. At this time, another terrifying collision sounded. In the sky above, the huge divine axe that was condensed from the nomological laws also slowly collapsed under the attack of a thorny monster. What? Both attacks were blocked by Dragon Palace. Those were attacks from Undying God Kings. When the 2 ancestors of the continent of the 9 clouds, the other strong cultivators, and the strong cultivators of the other influential groups saw that, their pupils shrank. Blocking Heaven's Horizon Ruler's attack was already surprising, but Old Ancestor Sky Horizon's attack was also blocked. This meant that Dragon Palace could fight against Undying God King Pinnacle experts. No wonder you dared to kill our Heaven's Edge's Elder. So your Dragon Palace also has peak Undying God King experts. No wonder. When the 2 patriarchs from the World's Edge saw this, their expressions changed slightly. However, do you think you can fight us with peak Immortal God King battle prowess? Kill. That Undying God King peak Old Ancestor who didn't make a move had a baleful look on his face. A pagoda appeared in his hand. He waved his arm, and the pagoda instantly blossomed with terrifying flames, expanding to a few million km wide. He flew above the pagoda and waved his arm. Flaming flowers were released from the first level of the pagoda. Countless flaming flowers enveloped an area of over 100 million kilometers and bombarded Dragon Peak. Walala. At this time, the old ancestor of the World's Edge sect continued to attack. The 3 thorny monsters immediately moved to meet their attacks. The thorny vines waved about, also enveloping an area of over 100 million kilometers. 2 of them locked onto the 2 patriarchs of the World's Edge sects, and 1 of them locked onto the World Horizon Ruler. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying energy fluctuations and a vast war instantly broke out. Retreat. Retreat to the rear immediately. The surrounding factions, even the great sects, immediately retreated. Just the shockwaves from a battle between peak Undying God Kings was not something others could withstand. Just then, a series of screams rang out from the surroundings. It was a very sudden sound. The cries caused the hearts of the surrounding World's Edge disciples to tighten. Everyone was shocked and hurriedly looked towards the source of the sound, towards the left of Dragon Peak. That is not good, Elder Mu. The cries attracted the attention of many. When the Sky Edge disciples looked over, their expressions changed drastically. On the left, Elder Mu led a group of World's Edge disciples to defend against the arrows coming from Dragon Peak. When Elder Mu blocked an arrow from an undying God King archer, a black and white figure suddenly appeared behind him. That eerie figure's sharp claws pierced into Elder Mu's body the moment he unleashed his powerful attack. Those scythe-like claws even sliced off half of Elder Mu's head. In the surroundings, there were also those eerie black and white creatures that pierced through Sky Edge's experts in the same way. An elder, 10 deacons, and over 10,000 godly king experts from the Horizon sect on the left were present. Seeing this, whether it was Sky Edge's experts or disciples, 9 clouds splitting heavens, moon, or other factions, they all felt their scalps prickling. The war had only just begun. The archers of Dragon Palace were engaged in several rounds of attacks with the disciples of Tinya. Suddenly, tens of thousands of Sky Edge Undying God King experts were killed. This horrifying scene caused even the 2 ancestors from 9 Cloud splitting to be shocked. Roar! Dragon Palace, you're courting death. When the 2 patriarchs from the World's Edge saw this scene on the left, their eyes instantly turned bloodshot. They roared like wild beasts. In an instant, tens of thousands of Undying God King experts and an elder were killed. What did that mean? The entire Sky Edge only had 80,000 to 90,000 Undying God King experts, and they had lost 1/9 of them. Most importantly, another elder had been killed. This was a peak expert of the 9th Order Undying God King realm. Including this elder, a total of 6 elders had died at the hands of Dragon Palace. More than a third of the Sky Edge's Type 9 experts. So. Old Ancestor Sky Edge's roar was useless. In front, the thorny creatures were already right in front of them. Break for me! Old Ancestor Sky's Edge raised his divine axe with both hands and hacked at the thorns in front of him. Pung! A terrifying collision sound rang out, and in the next second, Old Ancestor Sky's Edge, who was holding onto the divine axe, was sent flying backward. How is this possible? He could not help but roar. At the side, Old Ancestor Sky Edge was surrounded by the thorny creatures. Flames landed on the thorny creatures, but they did not break through their defense. His expression also changed drastically, and he suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. All members of Dragon Palace attack, kill. Wang Xian saw this and his eyes flashed coldly. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone floated above the Dragon Peak and attacked all the experts and disciples of the World Edge sects who surrounded them. Within Dragon Peak, the rest of the Starwood Dragons flew out as well. 60,000 Undying God King experts from Dragon Palace attacked. Chapter 2685. Hiss. Is this the power of the Dragon Palace? The 2 patriarchs of the Sky Edge sect and the sect master of the Sky Edge sect are all restrained by the Dragon Palace. There are so many Undying God Kings in Dragon Palace. Another 10,000 flew out, plus at least 30,000 archers. That should be close to 60,000 Undying God Kings, right? The most terrifying thing is still that strange black and white creature. Just now, no one noticed that group of creatures at all. More than 10,000 Undying God Kings were killed. Too terrifying. Look at those 3 thorny monsters. They are completely suppressing the 2 patriarchs and the sect master of the World Edge sect. When the 10,000 Undying God King level Starwood Dragons charged out, the experts and disciples of the large sects and factions saw this scene and were filled with shock. Within a Dragon Peak, not only did creatures that could fight against Undying God Kings rush out, there were also close to 60,000 Undying God King level experts. The number of Undying God Kings in the Sky Edge Great Sect could reach 70,000 to 80,000, but this time, there were less than 50,000. And out of these 50,000, more than 10,000 were instantly killed by the mysterious demon and the others. Another very important point was that the Dragon Palace had already slaughtered 6 of the Sky Edge sect's elders. In terms of high-end combat power, the Dragon Palace had an overwhelming advantage. Not good. The Dragon Palace has 7 to 8 9th Order Immortal God King realm experts. When all the Starwood Dragon seeds rushed out of the Dragon Peak and charged toward the experts and disciples of the Horizon sect who were besieging the Dragon Peak. One of the elders roared in shock and anger when he sensed the terrifying auras. Their World's Edge had 15 9th Order Undying God King realm experts, The sect leader and 2 elders had to control the world's edge ruler. 6 elders had been killed, and 2 elders were left to guard the world's edge sect. Their side only had 4 Ninth Order Undying God King realm experts. They were no match for the Dragon Palace. What made them even more shocked was that the close to 60,000 members of Dragon Palace were all Undying God Kings. There were none below Undying God King level. They were Eternal God Lord level disciples, but against the attacks of Undying God Kings, they could only be slaughtered. So. When the Starwood dragon species rushed out, thorns spread out to cover the surroundings. The sky was filled with arrows and thorns. In an instant, over 1 million disciples of the Horizon sect were killed. Screams resounded, and the expressions of the experts from the Horizon sect changed slightly. Their eyes revealed a violent, murderous aura. Kill them. Although the World's Edge sect was slightly weaker, it wasn't as if they didn't have the slightest ability to resist. Buzz. At this moment, the 10,000-odd mysterious demons moved and hid themselves in the void. All World's Edge disciples, be careful. Pay attention to that strange assassin. When one of the elders saw this, his expression changed slightly, and he immediately warned loudly, "Elder, they're too strong. We're not their match." In the rear, a group of Eternal God Lord level disciples watched the battle with fear in their hearts. The battle in front of them was not something they could participate in. Just being swept by the shockwaves of an Undying God King battle was enough to kill them. Only those with the strength of a God King could fight in this battlefield. The rest weren't qualified. This made the tens of millions of disciples of the Horizon sect panic. Not to mention surrounding the Dragon Palace. They would be considered lucky if they could fly for dozens of kilometers without dying. Buzz. In the sky above, the 5 elements grindstone swept towards the surroundings. Seeing the terrifying attack, the elder of the Horizon sect had to block it. If he didn't, many disciples of the Horizon sect would be killed. Swoosh. However, just as he was about to block the attack, an arrow shot towards him. Oh no! The elder's expression changed drastically. He quickly retreated and gave up on blocking. Buzz. The river of annihilation swept across, carving out a domain of death. The faces of the Horizon sect's disciples were filled with horror. No! Screams resounded as hundreds of thousands of disciples who were engulfed fled frantically. However, they were simply too weak. They didn't even have time to return to their eternal divine nation before they were obliterated. The Horizon sect isn't Dragon Palace's match at all. If this continues, all their disciples will be killed. The disciples of the Horizon sect have gathered to surround the Dragon Peak. They're waiting for Dragon Palace to kill them. Dragon Palace is so powerful. The Horizon sect is in big trouble. All the experts and disciples from the surrounding forces were shocked when they saw the scene on the battlefield. Who could have imagined such a situation? At first, everyone thought that Dragon Palace was stupid enough to court death. Now, it seemed that it was the Horizon sect that was stupid. Surrounding the Dragon Peak with such strength was no different from courting death. Sect Master, Forefather, we aren't their match. After a short clash, the group of Undying God King level experts lost their will to fight and roared in fear. Damn it! How can Dragon Palace be so strong? Above, the 2 forefathers of the Horizon sect, the Sect Master, and the Elder on the Horizon Ruler were in a state of shock. They dodged the attack of the Thorn Monster with difficulty. Hearing the voices below, their hearts trembled violently. They knew that the Horizon sect wasn't Dragon Palace's match. They were going to lose. All experts and disciples, run. One of the forefathers of the Horizon sect gritted his teeth. His arm was instantly severed by the Thorn Monster. He roared in anger. Defeated, completely defeated. You're too naive to think of escaping now. How can we let you get away so easily if you want to destroy Dragon Palace? Wang Xian stood on the command platform. When he heard the voice of old ancestor Sky's Edge, his face turned cold. At the side, the heavenly formation's arm moved, and a strange space slowly covered the area in front of them. Black hole disturbance. While the heavenly formation was controlling the Thorn Monster, he had already diverted some of his energy to set up this formation. When the formation was activated, It rapidly spread forward at a terrifying speed, enveloping a radius of 1 billion kilometers. The sudden change in the surrounding space made everyone pale. A bad feeling gripped their hearts. Oh no, elder, forefather, I can't sense my eternal divine nation. I can't return to it. A panicked voice rang out as a God-Lord disciple panicked. They weren't a match to begin with. If the fight dragged on, they would all die. They couldn't return to their divine nations either. What was the difference between waiting for death? This is a formation, a powerful trapping formation. One of the patriarchs from the World's Edge sect was also terrified. Break the formation. Break the formation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.